O'clock, we'll take you right through to the close at 4 p.m. The next 2 hours going to be filled with some opportunities here. Just keeping my eye on Beyond Meat, not one we mentioned today, but having a pretty good day on news. They're picking up some Tyson Foods executives. We'll talk about that coming up here in a second. But welcome to the close, guys. If you're joining us for the first time, we're on all day now, right from 8:30 in the morning through to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's have a look at where the markets are hanging out at 2 o'clock on this afternoon. 0.1 for the S&P, 0.15 to the downside for the Dow. The NASDAQ back in positive territory, only just about 0.25% today. A bit of a muted day overall after the past couple. To be expected, I guess. Crude oil still higher on the session. Full percent. You can see Ethereum having a nice day, 2.5%. Back into positive territory. Bitcoin's been an interesting one today, kind of chopping around. Was a little lower, was a little higher than that. Really not doing a heck of a lot. Here's the story. When last we spoke, we were mentioning the strength coming from the travel names. There they are. Or there's the cruise lines anyways. NTLH, CCL, RCL. Some of the hotels here as well. Caesars and LVS standing out as very strong today. Etsy back to the upside. It was weak yesterday. Here's the airlines down here, nicely strong today. Some of the capital goods stocks as well, back in positive territory. Overall, though, right across the board, moves are fairly muted. Match.com, 4.4 to the upside. Twitter right beside it, almost 3.5%. There's Facebook. Nice bounce back day for some of the tech names. WU, 2.7 as well. We'll flip over here if I can. Oh, it's not opening for me. I was going to show you the NASDAQ there, but also fairly muted. I mean, there are some names on the NASDAQ specifically in negative territory coming from the semiconductor group. NXPI, an interesting one, down 5% on the day. So we'll have a look maybe at NXPI, but lots of individual names. PPSI just popping back up in front of me here on a volume scanner. Remember that one about 18% short and a very, very low float, around 4 million shares for PPSI. So a big mover this afternoon. As we do most days around this time, we kick things off with a bit of a review of some of the opportunities available to you at the open this morning. If you join us every morning at 8:30, we discuss everything that's moving around in the pre-market and come up with a game plan for how to trade it. Here comes Neil talking about one of his trades from this morning.
Hey, everybody out there. Going to talk a little Pfizer today. So the Pfizer comes out saying that the third shot, I guess the booster shot, is going to be effective against the Omicron variant. And it was moving to the upside. Probably a lot of the reason why some of the travel names and the overall market is recovering here. But much like, not overwhelming news specifically for the vaccine makers here, the pop and fade trade came into play. So I want to show a couple of things. First, going to start with the 15-minute chart. You will see, you go back a couple of days, and we did have a failure at the 55 level and then a big time drop off. This is what I want to focus on, because when we dropped down through this range, there was a nice little short brief consolidation right around the open on the 53, which had been a bit of a previous low. We just marked off 53 here. And then when you got to the bottom yesterday, you had this higher low at 51. So those are a couple of things that we're going to hone in on here today. So when I came down and thought, okay, I like that pop and fade idea, I sit down and here is the pre-market just after 7 o'clock. You have a high shy of that 53 level. It comes in, it retests down around 52. You had a slight pop up. That wick is fugazi. It got to 52.5. And now we're set up. We got a 53 high. You got a 52 half in the middle. And now at 9:30, I'm simply looking for the pop up, the failure at 53 or short in front of 53. And then Bobby's your uncle. So we get the fill just right at the open, get the spike up, it fails to get through the top end of that range. And then at that point, it's just find your targets. And we went over sort of that secondary target that we like, and that's at 51 all the way here at the bottom. Pretty simple to see. That's why I was sort of looking at that lower high. But I wanted to make sure, and if you were watching us a couple of days ago in Lucid, and even actually today in Lucid, there was a lot of jockeying around that opening price fade where you'd be in and out a couple of times. So anticipating that could be an idea, I did hop on the bid in front of this support right from before the open at 52 and change, anticipating that if I got 2 or 3 chances to get short in front of 53, that's something that I wanted to do. That never happened, so you're just holding on for dear life down into 51. Now, This is a setup that has worked pretty well on Moderna in the past, sometimes playing it over in NVAX whenever they'd have some vaccine-related news, and it's been a pretty good one. The key thing here, though, and this is always trying to be better with our trades, once it had that pop and failure through 53, there's an opportunity to add. Now, a lot of times you might get a little bit of a consolidation there. There really wasn't one. It was a pretty quick move to fail back in here, and it had done something like this around 52.8, 52.9. 100% I likely would have been able to add here. Still should have been trying a little bit more aggressively to try to add once it popped into the fail break at 53 even. But again, that's a little bit of a nitpick. You can always try to do better with your trades. Just because it's positive news doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go up, because if you've already gapped up and you find yourself in a situation where you're running into where you think there might be some resistance, it's not as if you're going to be buying this thing down at 51 in the pre-market or at 9:30. It's not presenting you with that opportunity. So you've got to trade the patterns that you see despite the positive news, able to put one on here with Pfizer, and that's what you have to be able to do. Take advantage of the price action that you can and don't get married to a single direction. This one happened to work out here today in Pfizer, but hey, you know, a lot of times we're trading some of the faster movers like a Moderna. Nice to actually have one of these in Pfizer, which isn't usually as volatile.
Yeah, interesting for Pfizer. We had a number of the other vaccine stocks or vaccine-related stocks on the move today as well. Moderna, one of those, NVAX as well. Remember, NVAX yesterday had that positive news from the EU. So back to the downside today, surprisingly, after that Pfizer news. But if you're looking for an absolutely free resource, guys, that is the watch list we send out every single day when we come on at 8:30 in the morning. Absolutely free to you. We do all your homework, put it in a nice package, and then you can have it for nothing. Today, or this week, I should say, brought to you by X Sigma. Thanks to xsigma-trading.com for sponsoring the watch list this week. Few things to discuss here as we head towards the close again, just under 2 hours to go. Beyond Meat, guys, I sat down after lunch here and saw a 5.5% move for BYND quietly, mind you, on this, or it would appear anyways, on this headline. They picked up a few, I think 2 or 3, in fact, CEO, but executives anyways, from Tyson Foods. So Beyond Meat strengthening its management a little bit.
Yeah, isn't Tyson Foods also the Impossible Burger? So I think that's like their only competition. So it's nice to see them scoop up. But I mean, I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's not Tyson. But yeah, look. There's so many depressed names. I think that's really the key here. If you just kind of zoom back out, I mean, you know, sometimes reading charts are a little easy and sometimes they're difficult. But I mean, if you're going to play Beyond Meat, you did have a 50 peg there that held, that we knew was going to, but it only got down as low as 63 there. Look, I still don't love the name. There's still a lot of problems with Beyond Meat. I think they don't get the greatest love as far as the health, aspect is not as healthy as people once thought. They've been around for a hell of a long time now. Anyway, I feel like it. I mean, in the food business, I really feel like you get that initial bump, and I mean, like everyone's going crazy for Beyond Meat, right? It bumps up here like crazy on the IPO, comes out $50, rips all the way to $250. Everyone talking about Beyond Meat. It's the next craze, and since then, it's really had some, roller coaster type days. We stopped at 200 a couple times and then just straight to the downside. They missed earnings right here, which was bad on that 100, fell right to 80. But you know what? I see some people in the chat talking about PaySafe today. And, you could see some other names like Disney and a few other names that, they do get off the bottom at some point. And now you're going to have 3 straight days here with Beyond Meat, up 5%. Sure, looks nice for traders that bought down here. But realistically, I still think we need to get above 85. And once we do that, then it may be clear sales back up to the 50 period, back up over $100, and then we see from there. But nice move for Beyond Meat. Can't say it wasn't expected. I mean, eventually these falling swords are going to stop, right? I mean, you're seeing it with PayPal. You saw it with Affirm the other day, stopping at 100 and now back up to 130. So I think Beyond Meat has a lot to go. I'm not super excited about 6%.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to love 6% with a stock like this. It's been depressed. Like 85 definitely is going to stand out. Even then, like getting back to one of the support levels from, you can talk about support here in October, or even back to this April 2020 support area, back down here at 88, 89. So even if it gets through 85, I think, closer to that range to 90 is going to be an interesting zone for it to chew through. And in what might be a raising rate environment, it could be tough for them. So maybe a good start here today. But like Sean said, this would have been a difficult one to pick up here. And about the only way that you could have really dug into this, and this would be true for just about everything that was depressed on Monday, there was the one wipeout at the open style trade. Like a lot of times, if you don't get that entry point for a swing, or maybe pick it up here on when it took out the bottom end of the range, and then you're long at like a 68 with a nice little 66, 65 stop, like up at this range. I mean, 76 almost looks like. And now that Brendan brought it up, like I might be looking to short this thing at 76 here today, just looking at the 15-minute chart rather than try to find my way into a long.
Oh, Brendan. Another name that I want to talk about, because people were talking about it quickly here, and I think it goes to the same rhetoric that I was saying, that eventually things are going to pop, and they almost don't need to pop for any reason. Even Peloton here coming in. This is the thing. No matter which way you like a stock, long or short, there's always going to be reasons to sort of go the other way, right? Like we could sit here and talk about Peloton, like my man Trader Prad talks about it, slap an iPad on a bike and call it a Peloton, but at the same time, you could always look here and think, sure, on the chart this doesn't look good, but if you want to talk about, maybe some reasons why Peloton might be back upside, they've discounted some of their past bikes, they're into a few new areas, they have the treadmill now, they're into clothing, things like that. If any of those take off, then you would have some upside there, right? And so I think that even a name like Peloton today gets a 9% bump, just because how far down is it? They still had $4 billion or something in sales, right? I mean, they were expecting 5, they had 4. That's a huge number. It's nice that they're finally cracking those, but at the same time, Peloton gets beat down, and then today you get 8% up. And I mean, the same is true for PaySafe. Like, honestly, I looked at my price, it's 8 something. Where I'm long on PaySafe. So, to talk about this at 450, or I wish 450, I guess, 429, like, look, yeah, nice bump up for PaySafe, but hello, executives, like, this was the problem here on earnings. So I think when you get names like this, you sort of just got to watch out. There's always going to be a little bit of relief coming from the bottom here. I like the fact that there's a little bit of volume today with only 2 hours to go. Hopefully that spikes up even a little bit more, but there's always going to be what we call like a relief rally, right? And where the sellers are just done. It's been hit down, the sellers pull off the bid, they stop sending market orders, things like that, and then it gives the stock a little bit of room to breathe. So PaySafe, Beyond Meat, Peloton, there's so many. Clover bounced yesterday. There's going to be a lot of these names. The same thing happens with marijuana stocks. So yeah, I'm not super happy about PaySafe, so whatever. It's just one of these bounces. We got to wait for some bigger
Even
action.
Context Logic is up to
Wish, yeah. I mean, there's honestly, I know we're kind of just joking around here, but
No, exactly.
Even PayPal, like, so these are all kind of like, I don't want to say garbage companies, because again, I'm in PaySafe, Context Logic, a lot of people like that, Peloton, Beyond Meat. But even when you look at a stock like PayPal that I consider a very, very high quality stock, to be honest with you, I mean, it hasn't performed that way, but I mean, look at this. You even get enough of a relief rally right here off the bottom of 180, bumping it to 194, really on no news, right? So we're going to wait to see here, but that's what's happening, Brendan, with Beyond Meat, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how all of those kind of look the same if you go out to a higher time frame like that. You missed the very exciting announcement from the other day for Peloton on the boxing subscription you can now get with your Peloton as well. So maybe they have to add some sort of boxing device. I don't know. ISIG just popping back up here, guys. Crazy one from this morning, now 102% again. Got back above $20 again, and then 21. So volume coming back into this one. All you need to know is right here. Where is it? Here. 1.06 million free float on ISIG. So be careful if you are trying to be short on this one today.
I'm going to anger you.
So, John and I talking some fantasy football. ISIG, when Brendan says be careful, I'll reiterate that like 1,000 times over. So was able to make 2 separate short trades, one of which was actually looking really, really good. It was a short in front of 20. We're getting out here at $18, and then eventually just took out the high, right? You had to walk away from it. I did miss my chance at 25. And during the middle of the show, I saw during the middle of the day, I did mention, I think it might have been during Means and Movers or maybe at the end of our morning show, that once we broke 20, I would wait for a failure at 25. I was away from my desk when it happened, and this is going to be the missed opportunity. So the same way I was waiting to try it at 20, I waited for 25, and then once I missed that trade, I wasn't even thinking about chasing it. Interesting thing about the support, I can go away from the 15-minute chart and just pop you back to the 1 minute. $18. That's a level right here. I mean, this is exactly where it stalled out with the short 120. When that was working, it couldn't get past 18. That's where I was having to cover. You got the same bottom for support right here on ISIG. So, it's like, I'm not doing a thing with this. $20 don't care. $22 don't care. 25 at the top, 18 at the bottom. That's what I want to play. That's what I want to play off of. I should mention I do have one trade on from earlier today, and that's just going to be AMC. Took it a couple of times here off of this 34 high scalps amount. Now I'm just holding in for VWAP here around 32s. I didn't really adjust. That's how long I've had this offer in. Just want to see if I can't get this back into 32, make $1.50. Strong move for AMC today, but it put in a triple top and had some failed breakouts a couple of times there and never got through that $34 price. So it's about $1 in the money right now. Just want to see if it comes down to that VWAP price area. Much, much better price action on this than GameStop if you're choosing, but GameStop reports aftermarket.
Yeah, we had AMC. It's on the sticky note today for a long, and we have the long. The only problem is we got out at 31.60. We talked about this on the Memes and Movers show, and then it ripped up to 33. Like, there's nothing else we can do. And I think the thing is, Brendan talked about our watch list, and I think the watch list is obviously a great resource and much better than the sticky note. But again, you got to have these ideas like AMC long, right? Buy any dips. We talked about that. We also talked about Apple long. Like, two of my biggest trades there today come off of what kind of just made sense. We've seen AMC the last couple of days trying to get, again, like AMC is going to be a different stock than those last couple that we talked about. But, again, a little bit of a relief rally the last couple of days and some of these names that have been beat down. That's why, honestly, guys, that's why we went over to SoFi today. Very, very similar. And I tweeted it. This is, again, one of the number one names on my sticky note today was buy SoFi and any dips, right? So there it is, 16.29. Rode this thing all the way up to 17.20, got out at 17 break. So, there's lots of action here today. If you took it early, great, but there's some dip buy opportunities. I think those are going to continue to be what's worked. If I was going to do the trade of the day, I know Neil had Pfizer, but I was going to say the same thing. Just wait for dips. I was opposite of Pfizer, but my point was going to be, let's wait for dips every single day, and if we can catch them, then we can bank. I mean, another example is right here, guys, on Ford. Look, we take the early bid, right? $20. Boom, get it out, 2012, 2015, just a bit. Then it just absolutely free falls, and it's not crazy. It's only like 15 cents, but then we buy some 90s, we buy again, get stopped out, and then we're like, wait a second, Ford shouldn't be going down. And then we hit the bid again, bang it all the way to the upside, comes back in, hit the bid again right there, and then cash it out at the top. And now we have very, very small piece left to Ford. But I think that, moving forward, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how we wind up trading, especially off the open. We got to be patient and buy some dips, guys.
Let's break it down to the very basics here today, guys. In this video, we'll talk about some of the basics that if you're just getting started in the market, you really need to get your head wrapped around and understand before you start really putting money to work into the stock market. We're talking basics today. It's actually a very common question that we get here on the show. So let's break down a few maybe terms and a few terms that we use here on the show that people need to understand a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. When you start thinking about trading in the overall stock market here, a few things to understand. Like, one, we're going to talk about equity trading first off the bat. I mean, I was already talking about AMC earlier, so I can just leave us right here. When a company is public and lists on a particular exchange, in this case, it happens to be the New York or the NASDAQ. What you're essentially doing is you're speculating on price action, right? So if you believe the price of AMC is going to go up, you can buy actual equity in the company. And I'll go to a daily, so it just makes a little bit more sense. And then you can sell it at a later date, right? So a couple of things that you have to understand in terms of how these are traded. Almost every single listing in the NYSE, when it's listed, is going to look exactly like this on a level 2. You're going to have the bid and the ask. And this is something called the national best bid and offer at the very top here. So this will tell you that at the current moment, this is the price, the best price that someone is willing to pay, and they're waiting to buy shares of AMC at that price. And the same thing with the offer. Someone is actively, these are the best prices someone is actively willing to sell at, $32.52. So you can see it moving around 53. So if I wanted to buy shares immediately in AMC, all I would have to do is be willing to pay this offer price. Someone is willing to sell at that price. As long as I put an order in that is at or above this price, I should get an instant fill. If I want to wait for my particular price, let's say I only want to own shares of AMC at $30. So I would enter through my broker $30, and my bid would then be sitting somewhere in the book, way down here. I'd have to scroll down, and you'd be sitting waiting for $30. So when we're actively trading, we are always watching the actual price action. Now the difference between this and when you're looking at a chart is the chart is going to show you the past fills graphically, right? So this is where the stock has traded today. These are all of the bars of where the actual trade has occurred. Whereas when you look at this level 2, it's telling you where people's orders are waiting to be filled and accessible in the market. And so it's an important distinction because a lot of people, their gateway to the market is looking at a chart and understanding price action. And that is the past, right? We're going to get the actual bid and offer here, and we're going to always want to see the tape, which I always have next to it, which shows you the actual fills coming in real time. So it's an important thing to look at for those of you that are active traders out here. If you're not familiar with the level 2 or looking at a level 2 at a time in sales, it is one thing to just spend lots of time looking at. I'll do you one more, and a shameless plug here for Day Trade the World. One of the things we also have available in our wiki, it's a day trading wiki that anybody can look at, is we have market guides, which give you an idea of order types, right? So like I said, if I wanted to wait at a specific price, I can put a limit order in. Understand the difference between that and a market order. Every broker is always going to have market orders, which basically is allowing me to say, I'm willing to buy up to infinity, therefore always removing from that offer. I'm willing to sell down to 0 as a market order, meaning I'm always willing to sell to that bid. So just some basics about how every equity market here in the US works.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit silly for those of you that do have some experience, but realistically, some of the terminologies that Neil and I always use and that you may hear for the first time is really just a long versus short. Like I want to talk about that, and I just want to use some examples here real quickly. Today, long means to buy a stock. So if you really feel like, hey, I want to get into a name, or I've read good news about, here, this is, for example, this is SoFi. I've read good news about SoFi, or we'll switch it over to Apple here. You know what, I really like Apple's movement. It's been a good one. And you say to somebody, I want to go long Apple, or I'm here near Neil saying long this name or short that name. We'll deal with shorts in a minute. But long is to own something. So what you have to do in this situation is put money into your account. So whoever your broker's with, you'd put in $1,000, and in this situation, you'd be able to buy, stock is, let's say this is $200, you'd be able to buy 5 shares. Same thing, you'd be able to buy 5 shares right now of Apple. And so you'd put in your buy order, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, to go long shares. So when you see on the bottom of our screen, sometimes if we're trading or if you're with friends and you say I'm long something, it means I currently own that. I feel like the stock is going to go up. And on the other side of it, of course, it's a short. And what that means is I feel that there's something negative coming, and what I want to do is I want to borrow the shares because I don't own them, and I'm going to sell them in the open market and buy them back for a lower price. So when someone says I'm short DraftKings here, it's because they believe the price of DraftKings, and I'm wrong, the price of DraftKings is going to go down. So when I'm shorting here, like right off the open, 31.20, and then buying it back at 30.90 here, I've just made that 30 cents because I borrow the shares from the open market. So someone right here is willing to buy 18s. I will sell them that 18, borrow the shares, and buy them back for lower. So that's long versus short. And I just want to quickly, you have to know your keys. So I just want to say that this is another tip for those beginning traders. Understand before you even start trading. And I know this might be hard to see because it's white on white, the background. Well, I guess it's okay once you blow it up, but I'm just going to go easy here. NASDAQ, and I have and this is a little bit of a complicated system, but I have all my buy keys set on the right side of my keyboard and all my sell keys on the left side. So my tip really is for beginning traders here is to understand how to execute. Because Neil, myself, even today, we still make what we call keystroke errors.
Yep.
And that is that you mean to go long, but it's an accidental keystroke where you go short. So I think understanding the terminology and understanding where to find those buttons and how to push those buttons, very, very important for learning how to trade.
A couple of great points and a couple of great facts to leave you with. I feel like we could talk about this topic for hours and hours and hours. Maybe we have to break this into a bit of a series, guys. I was also going to mention auction market theory. There's a lot of great content on the internet regarding auction market theory. That was one thing that really helped me kind of wrap my head around exactly what was happening on a day-to-day basis in the market. Go out, Google auction market theory. There's lots of great content out there, but hope that helps, guys, on some stock market basics. Let's continue along here, guys, this afternoon. Well, I wanted to jump back to Apple real quick because I did see there was a bit more volume coming back into the upside here, guys, for Apple. We talked about it briefly, but I mean, it's been so impressive over the past couple of days, kind of leading the market to the upside. Tech stocks in general, Apple the biggest that there is when it comes to tech, guys.
Yeah, Apple, strong like bull. I mean, I guess that's...
Smells like bull, strong like bull, baby.
Why not, right? Apple a day keeps the doctor away, they say. And I can go ahead and cancel my dip buy on Apple, which I feel... On most stocks, like there's no chance I would leave a dip buy in most of the time from early in the morning, but on Apple, it's like, who cares? I mean, I wanted it at any point if it got to that 174. It's just, look, it never really tested down here. There was a small move down at the open to maybe try to get those 70s, but it just never happened. And now you're breaking out high a day. The market is, like, it's okay, but as usual, Apple showing just how incredibly strong it is. What I love about Apple is it doesn't matter the environment. If you had to pick, a couple of names that I think are going to be okay in the next year for the raising rate environment in terms of outperformance, I mean, Apple's going to be one of them. I think Amazon's been lagging some of the other big caps. I think that's why it can be a good one as well. But Apple, there's just nothing wrong with the stock or the company at this particular point. And a lot of times, what happens is any bad news is an opportunity for you to get in. Although I will say this. Oftentimes you'll hear us say, oh, this is good to buy on the dip, this or that, but when you're thinking about the really, really long term, if you're not actually invested at all, you don't necessarily have to time things with every single company. Like imagine a scenario where you were just putting new money to work, right? Like would you actually be waiting for a 10% pullback or a 5% pullback to get your first money in to a company you believe is going to be good for 5 to 10 years? No, you're not really trying to time in that regard. That's usually when you have a portfolio, you're starting to think about making those kinds of adjustments. So when you're starting with Apple, there usually isn't a really bad time, even though we'll talk about dip buys from here and there. Talking about the stock right now, it just made a 175 break on volume that looks like it's holding up. It's trying to drag the market with it, although I'll say it's not that successfully doing so because right now, Sean, there's some weakness in the chip makers, and I think that's one of the reasons why even the strength that we're seeing here in Apple hasn't been able to drive up the entire index. The chips just not going with them.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, we talk about this every day, and again, this is why I didn't even look at the charts today. I just came in and I wanted to write Apple as the #1 stock here today. Look at this, no shorting today. Do not short. So I'm glad that I don't have one of those little pink or purple shorts here on my board today, because then I would look crazy to myself, let alone to my wife, who already thinks I am crazy. We did, buying the dips. We bought it real early, man. We let the market settle down. We should have got this bid. We were waiting lower. We talked about trying to defend that 170. It only goes down as far, forget about that week. It only goes down as far as 171. I mean, it dips a little bit lower. We missed those bids. That sucked. We should have definitely had those. But then it starts to go back up and test some of these pre-market highs. We just mark it in long there, take that long, take about $1.50, take it again. And again, this is part of that trade getting out. And then our best out is up here at 174 when it went up to 174.50 and then faded back. Those of you on the morning show definitely know that I was all about this, man. This is what we talked about early. I love Apple. It's been my #1 stock. And even when Prad started to first ask about, what stock should I buy, it was just go ahead and buy Apple. And I think what Neil is saying makes perfect sense. Look, it is what it is. We can all make calls on stock, right? But 3, 4, 5 months ago, I said there's no bigger company. There's no bigger company. There's I don't know if there's better companies, but one with this kind of market cap that just had this many tailwinds. And Apple continues to work, man. The iPhone 13 Pro is a banger. We know they're coming out with the car. The Apple TV is a banger. I mean, everything is just a monster for them. So congratulations to everybody that has Apple shares, and especially me. I'm happy with this, and especially you guys. If you're long this, especially options. So you know what just happened here? I don't know. Like, I know that there's a huge buyback program on Apple, and that's one of the best things about the stock. They just continuously buy back billions of dollars of stock every quarter. So I don't know if this is what's happening now, but Apple's just straight gunfire here. 174 to 176 in just a matter of seconds. And I don't know if there's news on this. I don't see anything. I don't even see the NASDAQ going. It's just like, wow, Apple, hot fire, man. And yeah, Daryl, trust me, we've already talked a little bit about PaySafe. Yeah. Honestly, I like that stock, but I'm trying not to look at that till 2022 because I don't know. I'm stuck at 8 and change on PaySafe, so didn't average into that one. We did average into Clover. We've talked about that. So right now, Apple, Brendan, continues to work, my man.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Here's a couple of things to note, guys, from hi, Ms. V.
Hi, Brandon. How's it going?
Go ahead. We have a super chat.
Yeah, indeed. We have a very funny super chat from D Queen. Neil, would you create a company for Sean's wifey to work so to make him collect her pay and others to invest? Guys.
Neil.
Why would I create the company?
Neil. Come on, man. What the hell are you even doing, Neil?
Shouldn't Sean create the company for? Why would
create a lot
I
of
create the
companies.
company? Well,
I don't know, but you should create it, though. I agree. Yeah, man.
Just use our old company. Well, we can't use the old name, but
no. But you know what? That is a very, very good point. I should do that. My wife is a social media expert, so but she could set that up.
She's create her own company. Why do I have to do anything?
I mean, it's a super chat, bro. Relax. I mean, I don't know.
I know. It's all jokes aside. It's all good fun. Yeah, it's not a bad
$10.
idea.
You don't have to do anything.
Send
But
me a few fritters. Maybe we'll do it.
And Dan is right. No crossing streams. So yeah, I'll do this.
Never cross the stream.
I'll do this myself. But I don't actually. You know what? Now that I read this, I don't even really understand the super chat. Would you create a company for my wife? Okay, to work. Okay, what would she do just to make him collect her pay and others to invest?
So this is the whole point. It's like we have to. I think the idea is to come up with a company that makes the money that can be invested. So I think it's like now I need to come up with something that'll make money. I'm like, fuck, man, we trade here. We're just trading, man. That's anyways. Back to Brent. It's fun, D Queen. Good luck there. But.
Just seeing now a few people circulating that Apple apparently has won a stay in the App Store case that's still ongoing. So. That could be part of this move back to the upside again. I haven't seen anything official yet, but a few people saying Apple has won a stay in the App Store case.
That makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense for the volume spike because there's no way it was a technical break. Like I know it took out 175, but like the volume was way before that, obviously. So just another piece of positive news for them. Well, I mean, I guess it's not confirmed yet, but if they did get that stay. I mean, ultimately, a lot of times it's just a.
You know what?
It's not a huge deal. I mentioned that the chip makers were not participating right now, but I just wanted to quickly show Nvidia is sort of approaching support levels from the morning. This 315 level coming within play here. So Nvidia down 2%. It's still well within the bounds of the top end of its range. I mean, the prices on Monday that some of these things dipped into. I mean, it's long gone. Like we're still 10% up from that bottom on Monday's action. But if it does take out this 315, that could get pretty interesting if it goes anywhere near that 306 to 308 level on Nvidia. And that's what I mean about the chip makers not following through. No, AMD's not down much, but it's really mostly Nvidia showing the relative weakness.
Okay, so I'm going to take a stab here at Roblox. So I'm going to go short Roblox right now based on the fact that if that's true, Apple has won or is in the process of winning some sort of an App Store battle. That's bad for Roblox. It's going to be bad for EA Sports which Match.com, Humble, things like that. So Zynga, things like, any sort of an online presence that does, require you to download an app. You could now, of course, download the Roblox app from their own website, when before Apple had a monopoly on where you're able to do that. So my eyes are sort of going everywhere right now, just looking to see what's moving and what's not. But right now, yeah, Zynga, maybe ZNGA. I don't know.
He's got the...
Go ahead, Brendan. All right, pauses enforcement. Pauses enforcement of App Store injunction against Apple. So that's good for Apple.
Yeah.
So good for Apple, right? So that's fine. So that's what I'm thinking. So good for Apple, bad for all these other names. So I think that's right. Thanks, Brendan, for that. Let's just look at Zynga. Is Zynga a New York name? Like, no, okay. So let's see what that's doing. And again, yeah, okay. So there it is. So there's the move down. And then it's basically right back up. So increased volume on Zynga. Just so you know, the Roblox out is going to be right here, sort of right where this story started. So 124.50, 124.60. We're going to try this name. And that's it, man. We're going to try this. We're going to see where we go from here. We just noticed a dip down to 122. So I'm going to put a bid at 122, see if we can cash out of a little bit of it. And then if it wants to tank from there, then great. But for right now, it doesn't seem like it's affecting too many things. The NASDAQ's hung out here. But again, this 122 flat, something like that. Let's stick a bid in there just in case we get that hero move back. Yeah, look, I mean, this is maybe nothing. It's going to be a short string for me. Short leash, 124.50. I think it's worth the risk here, but doesn't look like it's working out right now. It's funny because I'm a huge Roblox bull, and it feels weird being short. But let's just play the news.
Yeah, you know what I'm actually looking at here is previous high on Apple before that news came out was a 174.87. And it just came all the way back to 175. And it's like every time, and we were just talking about the level 2, man, like I would go the wrong direction here to show you guys. Every time it dipped below 175, it would go to like 97, 90, 98 or so, and then just boom, the bid just reappears like a couple of times in a row. So if I see that at an even dollar range with the previous high is also a support level, I mean, I can throw a 174.85 stop a couple of pennies below that, and suddenly risk, 15 to 20 cents on Apple to try and get back to the high. We've seen these things run in the afternoon, so I like that kind of a setup, right? It's just a risk-to-reward style play. You get to be with the news, and a lot of times if you missed on the initial move, it's about, can I structure a trade that I like that's going to make some sense here? And it's not a guarantee that it works out, but it's really more about just finding a level that allows you to sort of stick with it. Like, I know where I'm wrong. I like that previous high, give it a couple of pennies below there. I like the fact that it showed a bullish sign on the pullback. There were some buyers in there sort of marketing it back up, and it's still even happening as we speak. Like, it goes down to the evens, it'll break for a quick second, and then it's like boom, it just instantly, you just saw it there, right? It goes to 99, and then someone just took it right back up to 03, and that's happened a few times. So again, I'm only going to be risking about 15 pennies on Apple here, so Apple long, AMC to the short side. Oh, DWAC is on the move again. I'm just watching here. DWAC just broke through $60 again. It had a huge top here at 64. I only shorted it the one time off of 58, but I'll be looking at that high of days. Of course, the second I get an Apple, it's a tight stop. It looks like it just stopped me out there at that 85 price. But DWAC at 64. If it goes out to the high of the day, to me that's going to be a fade. Up 17% today. I mean, that's a lot. And it's already put in a couple of big moves to the downside. There was a negative headline midday. Actually, it wasn't midday. It was a little closer to 145 right in here when it got to 60 the last time. So I'm only looking short on pops in something like a DWAC here today. The only breakout that I would have liked would have been missing it at the open. And give you an idea how gold this was, just going to quickly pull up to 15 because Sean and I were sort of talking about this one. Yesterday, if you go to this top, this is 52 at the top yesterday in DWAC. Then I'm going to go back to the 1 minute and show you what happened at 9:30. This is it trying to get above 52. Pops, fails at exactly 52 at 9:30, makes a bottom, consolidates lower, and then volume picking up. You guys can't really see the volume, so if we can do this, you guys can see. I know you still can't see it. Come on, why I want to do it. You guys switch a shot there so we can see the volume? No,
The
not
major,
that one.
the big one.
Yeah, like that one here. So the volume starts to pick up right here, and then it retakes 52. So this is yesterday's high. This is the opening range high, and then on volume at 1025, it breaks that same level. So it's a double top effectively. Volume spike breakout in DWAC. Goes right up to 53.5, pulls back, supports at 52.08, and then runs $10. I mean, when you're looking for squeeze type stocks, that is just a golden setup. I was not even thinking DWAC because it wasn't in the news this morning. But if you're watching something like that, the capitulation at 9:30 at a price like this, if it runs into and breaks that out on a higher volume than it had at the open, that is a breakout 10 times out of 10. I just wish I had been watching DWAC when it happened.
Yeah, I just want to, the thing is that Neil, myself, and Brendan all trade completely differently, right? Like Neil had an idea there. So whether or not you think the 15-cent stop is too much or too little, obviously it's not that big, but that's the idea is, you trade the idea that you have And, you know, that's part of risk management. So all three of us are going to have much different risk profiles, as I'm sure that you and the next person that tweets out or whatever is going to have a different risk profile as well. So just, you know, stick to what you guys do best. And I think Trader Prad talks about this in the chat as well. And that is just, you know, everybody do themselves. And like, if that's going to be a stop for a reason, then that's going to be the stop. And sometimes we look back. I mean, I look back too. It's like, oh my God, like I have so many examples today. That AMC, man, we got stopped and then the thing ripped up $4, right? And so sometimes there's going to be those examples. And like, just like now, my stop on Roblox is $1 away. And it's just, things are just doing differently. Like I read the chart that I want to short it up until here, right? And it's just, that's part of the trade. And so, you know, that's what you have to do. And I think that that's the most important. The good thing is, and you better rest assured to know that, you know, Neil, myself, and Brendan and Trader Prad, we all go home and analyze all of our trades and we think about the different decisions that we make and we make them. So, you know, Brendan, thanks for that news on Apple for sure. I'm going to hold this Roblox until 124.50 and just see where we go from there. But yeah, no shorting Apple for me today, even with this news. Let's just see where we go with all of these names. I'm super bullish on the NASDAQ, man. I can't believe this move that's come back. I talked about it going down. Remember I said it was going to be a 4% retracement? I think we got to about 5 and a bit there at the very bottom. So I think the NASDAQ now may be clear sailing. So Roblox probably going to get stopped out here. 124.50.
What happened to it?
Back here over the past couple of days, just checking on Yellow Corporation. There's a couple of little random stocks just popping up here at once. COS, one of them. Everyone knows and loves COS. It just ripped $1 there and came all the way back in one motion. There's also this Yellow, YELL, just went 14 to 15 as well through recent highs there, now up 8%. Not seeing any on these, but a couple of little ones starting to go here.
Yeah, also too, I see you guys.
We don't want to talk about Nvidia and AMD, Brendo. See if you see anything on those.
Yeah, I mean, in just a couple of minutes, Nvidia, like it was just, we just said, okay, you know, a little relative weakness in the chips. And it wasn't that crazy. And then a $2.50 drop in 2 minutes after this on a volume spike in Nvidia. And then all of a sudden you're bouncing off that 314 level. So you go back to that 15 minute and we got through the morning bottom. You start thinking about where it broke out yesterday and that was 312. So if this gets any crazier, I think 312 and a half or so would be the next level down here in Nvidia. But that's enough of a volume. Just like with Apple, when a volume spiked to the upside and it broke, it's like, that's got to be more than a technical break. And then Brendan came with the story. I just want to be sure I'm not missing out on something as to why we just had that surge in volume to the downside on Nvidia here. So only an AMC for now, waiting around for that DWAC. And another one that was a mover this morning. I mean, there was a million things that did crazy moves. DocuSign. By now, I'm sure everybody is aware of what happened at DocuSign when they reported their earnings. So, you know, take 11% with a bit of a grain of salt because you are nowhere near back to, I mean, the high when it gapped down was all the way at a 162, and then it just continued to flush down. So we're not even challenging that level. If it gets there, I think it runs into some resistance. But for the time being, 155 is the current top. Might be worth a trade at that price if it does a consolidation break. But yeah, 162 is going to be real interesting on DocuSign if it tries to come right back to the day 2 top, I should say, because wow, they got punished, and you get really beaten up if you don't guide well in this market.
What's up to Phil? Thank you for being a member now for 5 months. So I'm short Roblox. I don't know if Pratt is as well. I'll be short Roblox for time, but not for a long time. We've already talked about where we're going to get out, and normally I wouldn't be short Roblox here at all. But it's based off of why, and we've already discussed that. I think that if that injunction hits, we'll just see. I mean, Roblox is a superheated stock, right? I don't need to tell all of you guys that. There's an opportunity for it to pull back down. I don't know. Brendan's telling us right now he doesn't see anything. So I don't know. I don't know why Nvidia's down 2 and a bit percentage. I last bought this 3 days ago or 2 days ago, whenever I was off Monday, at 291. So you know that was a good buy, and I rallied up. I'm not selling any of this, so it doesn't really matter where it goes from here. But we are trying to make money here trading. So a nice little bump up. I'm wondering about this level right here where we sort of cascaded through. We broke, is that the low of the day right? Yeah, so no, the low of the day is really down here at 10 o'clock. Look at it, Nvidia is so nasty in the morning, man. Choppy. And then the high 320, this is a very, very ugly, there we go. We are stopped out of Roblox right there, so smoke in on that one, the wrong stuff there. As Roblox, did it break above? I don't know. We got out 54, so it must have. There it goes, Roblox, we lose that $1 or so on that name, so wrong on that, that's fine. really doesn't damage us at all, but still sucks to be wrong. Roblox back up to the upside, buying any of these dips. Like, look at that. Again, we break that bottom. I don't feel bad about making this trade. I'd make it again on that headline. We were breaking that bottom and thought we could go lower. So that's that. It's wrong. So we take that out and like $1.20 or whatever that hit was on Roblox. Definitely, that was just a tester position. And I think that's what you got to do. So we'll watch for Roblox to maybe go long. But what about AMD? Did AMD also dip down there? I mean, there's... Yeah, not as much though. So either way, you're testing some of these lows of the morning. And my theory about why these things are coming down, I haven't really been able to see anything, is just this. I mean, you were at $100 on October 4th. Well, let's call, what day is today? The 8th, so it doesn't matter. Either way, October 8th is right here, so $103. And even if you forget about those highs, even if you take a high rate now of 144, that's 40% in 2 months. So I'm just wondering if there's some money coming out of these names and then into some of that new tech, like we're seeing PaySafe being bumped up, Donkey Kong.
It was
Roblox.
across the board, because I'm looking at Marvell made essentially the exact same move, almost 92 to 90 and a half, so $1.50 on Marvell, and it could just
PayPal.
It could just be all the strong chip names at the same time caught a bit of sell action there, but it does happen. DWAC started to move to the upside. I'm only fading that stock. I just can't bring myself to go long on that thing. I don't know why. But Marvell, this is another one. It never got anywhere close to this morning's dip price, but another stock that gave you just a tremendous dip into what was a previous top at around 89, and then went off to the races. So it seems like, at least for the morning, like this is what it seems like to me. Like, I can't remember the last time there was a clean and obvious just a breakout, right? It's either wait to buy the dip, or find yourself a rollover short to then reverse into a long. Like Lucid's worked a couple of times for that kind of an idea, and that's what we're seeing in this market. So the way I would sort of look at that is you just go with the trends. It doesn't mean breakouts are dead. It just means that for now, there's a better way to approach the open, it seems, and just taking random breakouts of the high of the day. Now, if they happen, if it takes out a high of the day break at 10:30, those tend to still be fine. Let it make an opening range, and then when that gets broken, those tend to be okay. Like if you took a breakout on Marvel and you got it like a 10:45 when it's taking out that high at that time, that's pretty clean through the high of the day. So a lot of chip makers. It wasn't just Nvidia, which I thought there. It did extend through to a couple more. When I said DWAC was ripping up, load. It wasn't quite as big as I thought. It only into that 61 level, so it's still got some room to run into that high of the day. Still only about $1 in the money on ISIG, and then DocuSign at 155 looking pretty enticing as well.
We're going to get our friend Justin Kozach back out here in a few minutes to discuss a number of things. He's watching this testimony that's going on right now. The head of Instagram apparently testifying in front of a Senate committee in Washington right now, so he's watching that. Photronics, one that we discussed early on this morning. If you joined us in the morning show this morning, had a big bump on earnings. I think it was around this day high, maybe. Just made another one on decent volume as well. So PLAB, all-time highs now. Huge day for them, 22% almost. Another one from the Semi group, guys.
Semi.
I mean, I don't know anything about that stock. So, we can look PLAB. I mean, another big day for them. I want to talk about Williams Sonoma quickly. I know Neil has PLAB up, but you want to talk about a name that I think is great value. They reported great. And it's just retail's been getting hit here. So if I had some free cash, man, I mean, I think I'd dip something into Williams Sonoma, a high quality retailer that just got beat down like crazy. So I like this name. WSM right now, but PLAB, let's have a quick look at that now. I know Neil has it up. Some volumes popping through today. The low of the day, 1420. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see what the daily shows here.
It's too extended on the daily to absolutely love the long. And the other thing I'll tell you too is, I'll go this way, is it's not doing a lot of volume up here, right? Like I know it just took out the high of the day, but this is on lower volume than it was doing when it bounced off VWAP. At lunchtime and right at 12 o'clock, or when it was making this consolidation here at 11 o'clock, and that's a bit of a worrisome sign for wanting a break. It doesn't mean it's not a good breakout trade. It even has, like, at times I just saw like a 4 or 5 cent spread now down to 2 cents. So the volume isn't tremendous through there. But you made me just think of something when you mentioned Williams Sonoma there, Sean, because I did notice Walmart down, but Walmart's not even the big retailer that got pumped. Today it's Target. Target was down $10 at one point, top to bottom. And it closed at 245, but you have Target consistently failing the 50 period and failing this 250 level. But if you, and I don't have to draw a trend line because you guys can see the 200 period moving average, which it's essentially bouncing away from every single time. So, on the idea that it tries to hold this, these aren't some bad levels down here and Target at 235, but I would be a little bit concerned. I mean, if Target were to actually breach this for the first time in who knows how long, that would be an interesting turn of events that I'm not sure is necessarily going to happen. But look at how bearish that failure was when it tried to take out the high. Tried to take out that high at 269. That's a big fail. It then bounced right around the 50 period in 250. It's now failed away from that price. It does feel like it's going to test that 200 period moving average. So Target should be on everyone's radar. Getting beaten up. And I know Walmart was weak today, like you said, Williams Sonoma, but there's going to be some retailers that I think are going to be of value in the upcoming days, just based on what the trend is going to be here. So, I've been on the Walmart train for a while. Target looking pretty interesting just because of how badly it's performed today. It's going to start to hit some prices that are pretty juicy.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with a lot of these retail names today, but the market is fading back in a little bit here. Macy's a good talk there. Photronics again. The right space, everything, solid state batteries, things like that, starting to make some moves. The upside up 21 and a bit percent. We have, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but the only position I have right now is Ford. So it's not. Let's go charts. Right. It's not doing anything, and we don't have a big position. So I'm actually waiting for this to come back in. It's getting very, very close. We will put another bid on in and around here, man, 78, 77. So if that does happen when we're with Justin, then you'll see just a bigger position go on, and it might change. So it'll probably be like 77, 78. So I'm just going to be very, very patient with it and then still hit that same mistake. And this is where, not mistake, but if it breaks through 75, then we're going to get out. So that's why I'm going to start the bid at 78. And then I don't even know, we might have just got down there and I missed it, but it looks like we got to 79 or so there. So I think we'll just keep trying that and then see what's happening, because right now the market's up. It's just Ford. Some of these names are sort of just drifting down. I'm going to take this bid knowing that the chances that we win on it aren't going to be super strong. There's not too much time left in the day, so I'm going to try another forward bid down here. We've been buying this name and really cashing in as it's been going to the upside. There's a lot of fills here. I think I have how many fills? 70 fills right now. It just looks 77 here on Ford. So as you see, we're going to take another bid down here, 77, 78 on Ford, guys. So that is that. Palantir testing at 20. That's looking pretty spicy as well. Apple, Nvidia back to 317. That's good. And then there goes PayPal, man. My last buy on this one, and it's just, I've been putting money to work in other places. Teladoc. I've been talking to you guys. Win, names like that. But PayPal, man, the last time I bought this was at 202, and now you're ripping back upside. You made a nice bottom of 180 the last couple of days, and now there goes PayPal. So this was a stock that you had to nibble. We talked about that a lot of times. I asked you guys for what you're nibbling on. PayPal was some of those. So good job there as PayPal is starting to get back to the upside. Buy good quality names, man, when the stock market dumps like that.
Yeah, 100%. And Brendan teed it up, and I think we are ready. You know who he is. We're going to go to the desk. We've got one of our favorite guests, marketing guy, Justin.
He is back. Justin Kozach, Day Trade the World marketing guy, is here to talk a little bit about headlines from today. One of those, we were just kind of admiring the chart while we were sitting here before we came on, of Roku that is up 19% today on some news that we'll get to in a second. But first, let's talk Instagram, because the head of Instagram apparently getting yelled at right now in Washington.
Right. So Senator Blumenthal, from the Democrat from Connecticut, no big fan of Instagram, saying today, or just a few moments ago, that the measures that Instagram has announced yesterday with these new parental controls and safety tools for teens is just simply not good enough, coming too late, and is expressing some concerns about whether or not these tools are even going to be transparent enough to solve some of the mental health issues and eating disorders that teens seem to be getting by spending too much time on Instagram. So no love for Instagram and Adam Mosseri in particular. So we'll be watching that on Trader TV, Justin on Twitter. I'll be covering that throughout the afternoon. So I am expecting that it is not going to go well today.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see. I mean, Instagram is a huge chunk of Facebook every single quarter, every single year, obviously. It's going to be interesting to see. These measures that we talked about a couple of days ago, like they're out there. They're in place now. They're operational, correct?
Right. So there are some measures that are in place. This timeout feature that they are testing is currently working in Canada and the US and a number of other countries. And there are also some new features that are coming in March of next year. So sort of a phased rollout. They're testing some, working on others, so that it's definitely a work in progress. But as was mentioned, they feel that this is a little bit too little, too late. Their sense is, well, why weren't you working on these features before? Why did it take the leaks from Frances Haugen to make you guys realize, oh, this is actually a problem? So I think that's a valid point. I feel that's a pretty fair concern. We'll see what their responses are, but I can't. It's one of those things that this story isn't going to go away anytime soon. And the longer this draws out, and the longer social media addiction continues to be a story, and the negative effects of it, I don't think that we will have heard the end of this. And I feel like there's a lot more work that needs to be done, certainly on Instagram's part and other social networks as well.
Right. Yeah. And time will tell. Not over, obviously, for Facebook and Instagram. We were talking before we came on about the fact that this was delayed this afternoon until it finally got going just before you came out here. There were some crypto CEOs as well that were testifying in Washington today as well. So I don't think it was related, but might have been the same crossover times. Anyways, let's go to Roku because, wow, 19% today. If you missed it, we're back to 260, almost day highs as we speak here for Roku on huge volume as well on this YouTube announcement.
Right. I'm a bit disappointed I didn't get early this morning when it was sitting up at 10% up. So now it's sitting ripping up to the top, close to 20%. So Roku and YouTube hitting play on a new deal, a multi-year agreement. In the backdrop against them constantly fighting and arguing, and YouTube wanting to pull their app from Roku and Roku wanting to pull their app from YouTube, and just a dog's breakfast of arguments since April of earlier this year. They're saying that the terms were unfair because YouTube was prioritizing their content in search results, and YouTube was basically saying, our efforts are consumer friendly, and they accused Roku of using their market position to get a more favorable deal. That happens all the time, but when you have big players in the market like Roku with 54 or 56.4 million users, and YouTube getting 2 billion monthly active users every month, surely at some point tempers will flare and they'll come together and they will argue for months and months on end. But yesterday they put all of that aside and they said, let's just get this deal done. And so, of course, the result of that now is Roku is just ripping up to the top side while Alphabet is dropping down just a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those apps though now. Like I even find myself, I'm spending more time watching on your TV now because you have the ability very easily to have it on your TV. I'm spending more time watching the YouTubes of the world versus traditional television. I mean, if you want to watch something live, sports or news or whatever, obviously TV is still the place to be, but huge deal for Roku. Wanted to make sure we mention this better.com because it's an interesting story. A lot of people, I'm sure, have heard about this. Mass firing, or not mass firing, but I think it was 9 people, if I'm not correct, correct me, on Zoom.
Right, so last week we heard that Better.com laid off 900 people, and apparently 15% of their workforce, not the original 10 that we had reported, 15% of their workforce was let go in this 3-minute Zoom call that was hosted by their CEO. And I saw some video footage of one of the calls that was recorded by one, I guess it's an ex-employee now, who had nothing pleasant to say about what he was experiencing, and a lot of very short 4-letter Anglo-Saxon words to describe his sentiment about being fired in such an unceremonious way. So a lot of that certainly its story has continues to develop, and videos of the Zoom call are now being shared across social media, particularly TikTok. So lots of people unhappy about that. But what has happened since then is the VP of Communications, their head of PR, and their head of marketing all resigned in one day, presumably in protest for these firings that happened. So never a good thing when 3 people who are responsible for the communications inside your company all quit within the same day. And now there's been some additional reporting around the apology from the CEO was leaked to blind.com. And of course, unsurprisingly, nobody on there really buying it. Everybody's saying that it's a load of insert your favorite word there, 4-letter words. And there's also some Forbes reporting that was done last year where the current CEO, Vishal Garg, threatened to burn his former business partner alive during a court case. So he's a pretty interesting character who seems to be developing a bit of a negative reputation. And certainly this massive layoff has certainly cemented some of that and brought up some of those old sentiments.
And this is not, it's interesting because this is not a small, it's a SPAC, if anyone's wondering, first of all. It's not a small deal. It's $750 million. And SoftBank is actually one of the backers of this.
Right. So this deal is interesting. So Tomorrow.io is a weather platform that essentially allows businesses or gives them insight into upcoming weather and plan for those weather events. So you could see in transportation and sporting, you could see that those would be particularly useful. JetBlue and Uber are a couple of their customers, and they have a bunch of other customers as well. Some of them in sports, like the New England Patriots, for example. So pretty interesting, though. But I think the bigger story here is SPACs seem to be everywhere. This is probably the third time that we've had this conversation, at least this week. So it feels like that. It feels like the what's the character from Toy Story, the spaceman. Buzz Lightyear. It's like SPACs everywhere. That's kind of what it feels like lately. So I think it's a pretty interesting platform. But a $1.2 billion SPAC deal, that's pretty impressive. But it's going to get them up to $420 million. So that they will be using that for some strategic M&A, investing in the platform, and using them to launch radar satellites for weather. So I guess they're doing a lot of interesting stuff there. Some more satellites for Elon to dodge.
I was going to say, yeah,
yes.
in a race for space in space, it's going to get kind of crowded up there.
Just a massive space race now.
Yeah. Justin Kozach, Day Trade the World marketing guy, always great content. Let us know if anything happens with this testimony for Instagram. We'll keep an eye on Facebook this afternoon, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. As always, good stuff there. I want to go right to the super chat that we got here, though, Dustin, because I know you'd asked a couple of times, and we had just gone right to our guest, Justin. I want to make sure we got that one in, but I did add IDRA to my list, so we could quickly go over it. Now, I just said in the chat, not the greatest signs in the long term here. If you're gonna have a quick look at what's been happening with the stock. I'll zoom in. I want to make sure everyone can see the context here. But since it's broken $1, and anytime a stock goes into penny stock status, it becomes very psychological, that $1 range. And then it becomes really important what happens when it finds resistance. As it gets up to that price, where are people trying to dump and sell shares into any kind of a rally or during any consolidation. And when it was giving these 10% moves up, you had support 83, it was into 91, 92, as you can kind of see before it flushed down and made the lows that it's currently bouncing off of. So anytime you see that and you have a spike, and this is my 15 minutes so you can see how extreme this is, and it's right into that previous lower high resistance, not even getting to $1 when it catches its news and it breaks out. And then it's not a slow gradual, it is an absolute rocket back into the downside. So it shows you that people were running away from this one when the new spike came. And ultimately, the good sign would be it's not a full retracement at this point, and volume is kicking back up. So, your worst case scenario is that you had actually gone all the way back to 64, and then it's probably kaput since it do the barcoding it was doing before. What you would really like to see is it's got to break 92s in the next couple of days, or this is just not going to be enough juice to get it through that dollar range. A lot of times it'll retest this price, and if it can't claim it, people are like, oh, it's not going to break back above $1, and they look to sell it. And there's going to be new longs that have better prices than everybody that's stuck for a while in this, and they definitely are going to be very happy with taking 90 to $1 here. So I am watching this now to see what happens at that 92 range, but it's going to need to get above there. That was a big time rejection and a harsh fall off of the most obvious possible price where there'd be people doing some bag hold selling. While this was going on, I know Longeveron just happened, and I was in it. I actually just got out of it, but I wanted to address the super chat before we got there. Longeveron popped to the morning high at 23.70. When you watch the show long enough, you have an idea. It goes up there. The second it puts in any kind of a failure anywhere close to that high, oddly enough, it was at 23.50. So kind of a round number anyways. Shorted it when it failed at that level, 23.30, able to get some out 70 cents and then just $1 there. So sometimes it's about having a setup. We talk about shorting those pops. I would have done the same thing if DWAC had gone to 63, 64, but it was Longeveron that moved up here. Didn't catch the long on LGVN. Simply because, again, like DWAC, it just wasn't on the radar today. And I wish it was, because it's the same kind of thing. Opening range top here at 21, retest that, and then on volume starts to break out. And look, it's either catch the breakout, I doubt it because it was so fast, and then it makes this crazy, crazy move into 24. I would never have got this dip buy here, but if you were looking for a dip buy and just sort of sticking it in front of 21, I mean, you could do a heck of a lot worse than 21.50 here, which gave you another $2. Not a trade I would make, but if you were bullish on it, why not? Now I'm only looking at the short. It's worked once. I don't think I would take a short again if it tested the high unless it was a failed break. So breaking 23.71, failing to get through 24, then coming back down and maybe shorting 70 to 75. That would be a way I would play the short off the top. But in and out, easy peasy on LGVN.
Yeah, and we're trying to do something that doesn't appear to be too easy peasy right now. We are short Roku right now. Would have loved to get 258. We're going to sit there at 258, but instead we got 257 break. Just looks like we've made, I mean, we'll close this. This is the one-day chart, whatever. Had that up for Justin. But you could see now down to the downside here, it just looks like it's trying to, it did take out 257. So we punched the short, and I think we're short at 80 or whatever, 90. So 256.90 right now. We'll take some out here in the middle of this pack, 255 and change if we're lucky enough to get that. But here it comes right back down. So here goes Roku to the downside here. Let's see if it's going to fail. I don't know, man. I mean, up 20%. I know it's a big deal for YouTube there, but let's just wait to see. We may have gotten a decent short here, but I will take a little bit out here at 255.50 just to put something in our pocket. But right now, everyone wants to see Ms. V rather than me. So let's go over to Ms. V.
That's not true, Sean, but what I wanted to say that Arturo Diaz reminded me what time is it. It's like o'clock, guys, and we would really appreciate you if you smash the like button, turn thumbs to the upside. I know you're busy, it's an exciting day, but please spend just 1 second and let's push likes to 1,000. We have almost 3,000 people watching, and your like is very important to us. Back to you guys.
Yes, sir. Why not? And speaking of which, hey, guess what I'll give to you in real time? For anybody looking at BFRI, if you can't see it, I can tell you it's indicating a $5.31 reopen. It is halted up. 505 is the current price that it halted at, but the high of the day is just a little bit, just 515, like 10 cents higher than this. Was doing absolutely nothing. I mean, like good volume at the open, then nothing for the rest of the day. Random volume spike, just halted to the upside here. A couple of notes about this name. I shorted it one time, only went down here at 4. Did I really short it at 420 down here? Man, whatever. It just, how does that number always keep coming up? I don't even know why. But if it does get to the upside past the current high, this had a failure last week at 530. So there's a couple of levels just directly above. And speaking of which, that 530 that I'm showing you, that top, exactly where it's indicating opening. So I guess that's not necessarily a coincidence. If it chews through there, I 100%, without it needing to halt again, I would be looking for a short at 650 if it were to get there. I'm not convinced based on, you know, just sort of the 531. That's only really like 25 cents up from here that it has that kind of juice to get there. And I'm not going to just randomly short this price on a reopen. This is a halt play. It's a bit different. I'd need to see a test 6 or maybe like a 650 or a halt down or something like that. The volume was not huge going into this move, but it is a 10-minute halt, which means in 1 minute it should be open back up here, guys. So BFRI always in play. Brennan?
This was 11 o'clock this morning, but on that, that's another one, guys, worth noting. 3.6 million share free float on BFRI. This was this morning though, 11:12. There was a patent allowance that came through 11:12 for BFRI as well.
Shares. We're just gonna go public with our own company. The float's gonna be like 50,000 shares. We're all gonna get rich when it just halts like 50 times up or whatever it is.
Bye bye Roku. We'll just slap that. Let's hit that music right there as Roku. Yeah, I mean. We talked on Trader TV Prad's show, we talked about a SPAC. I don't think you were here, but a Trader TV Live SPAC. TTVL. So invest in your TTVL SPAC today. So one short works with this Roku, but not working with the other are Roblox. And there it is. We took it out at 256. We just took out a bit there. We actually took out half of the trade there on Roku on that move. And it bounced a couple times. We took that last one. And actually, just when I punched the screen there, it crashed through. It went down to 255.70 there, 255.68. We got out at 256.03. So we took a nice bid to the downside there. That's 87 cents or so for the profit there on 1-for-1 on Roku. Now we'll hold and we'll just see where it goes from here. Wouldn't mind averaging into like 258 if we can get something up here. But that's the kind of the break. You know what? Nah, forget that. I'm canceling that offer. Because you know what? This is the thing. Someone said, like, how are Sean and Neil always right on their trades? First of all,
That's
we're not.
not true.
First of all, we're not. But thank you for acknowledging that. And the second thing is we do talk about all of our winners and losers. And I think that the main important thing here is when you're talking about stocks is just to be honest with yourself. I mean, there's going to be strategies that you should use more shares with, and there's going to be strategies you should use less shares with. And it's going to be very, very hard for someone to judge their trades if they're always sort of, I don't want to say delusional about what is working for them, because that's not necessarily the case. But please just monitor your trades, watch what we're doing, and more importantly, it doesn't matter that I'm short Roku right now. I think the important thing is to know why. And I think that, why am I short? Because I have a 259 out if I wanted it. Obviously, I just took $1, so my out was always going to be 258.50. We talked about that. You got to figure out your risk versus your reward. And at the same time, make sure that charts are lining up for you. And there's certain trades that you like versus certain trades you don't like. It took me 20 years to sit here and be able to have this. I didn't have a red day in November, and I think I had 1 in October, 2 in October. The success has come, but it's come through a lot of hard work. And it's not, you're not just going to sit down here and start to make these kind of trades. So just be very, very careful. Not only that, a big shout out to Day Trade the World. Like, see here, now it's coming right back. A big shout out to Day Trade the World as well, giving us the opportunity to sit here on this platform and execute trades as fast as we do.
Exactly. And look, I was about to say, literally going to jinx myself, that, losing trades, like what DocuSign today, you just saw me lose in Apple. And I was about to say, let's even maybe add BFRI to the list, because I got into this one. And again, I threw in the chat, there was a refresher at 575, and I said wait around to like that $6 range. Now, I'll go back to the higher time frame so you guys can kind of see. Like, it popped up, looked like it was for all the world going to test back to this like 6, where it had a failed breakout on the second a little bit later on in the session. This is more in the afternoon, where it had a secondary failed break. But that 575 just stepped up on the offer, refreshed it a couple of times. I shorted 60. Really? I thought I shorted, I tried to get 70s. I ended up shorting 69 because obviously that's like, I just talked about 42 being a level. So clearly I'm going to get shorted 69. That's a complete coincidence, and I have no idea why this always comes up here, but it is what it is. Completely off topic, but did anybody notice that on Bitcoin, like, it made that high at 69 and then the flash crash bottom was 42,000? 69,000 top, 42,000 bottom on that flash crash recently. So because obviously markets are that easy. That's exactly what happens. Anyways, back to this position. 575 was a refresher, so I'm going to scale out of it. 70% out in front of 550.
Whoops.
No obvious levels other than the quarters. I thought it would be 6. 575s where it turned. I'll get the rest of this out if it breaks 550 in front of 525, and then the whole price at 505. I mean, I'd say $5, but the whole price between 505. And this was really close to just being an obvious loser, but much like the Apple trade. Like, my stop here, I'm 69 short. If 75 broke, I'm just out. I'm not holding it. Like, sure, it could go from 575 and drop $1 to 475, but I'm still stopping it out for like a 6-cent plus slippage, because that's the way I structured the trade. And sometimes you get quickly stopped out like Apple, and then sometimes it works out for you like BFRI. But you've seen an example of both these. I don't know why I can't get a fill on the bid here. Oh, why? Because I'm actually at 50. Sorry, I was sitting right at 535, and there were a few other bids there. So I'm going to pop my bid up a little bit, see if I can't get something in front of that 35 level. There we go. We'll ring the register on that one. We'll drop the whiz because it's the first thing that my finger hit on my keyboard here.
It's the whiz, man. It's the whiz.
You named it the whiz.
I created this one. I was like, I was watching Seinfeld. The whiz came on, and I thought it was going to be appropriate. So the whiz is there.
We did a top five Seinfeld episodes.
Did we do that?
We discussed it one time. I don't think we officially did anything.
I mean, everybody
but
likes soup Nazis. I like the Cubans versus the Dominicans.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's some classic Seinfeld episodes.
Honestly,
sure,
it's one of those shows where everybody's a little bit different what they think are the best, but there's 2 or 3 that are everyone's list. Like, I mean, the Soup Nazi obviously is going to be one of those. And if you've never, the contest is, I was going to say, Lucas, the contest is my number 1. I think it's the number 1 for a lot of people. And if Prad... Oh, he's not there.
It's now
if
on
Prad
Netflix,
was here
by
and
the
he
way.
would have told me, I've watched a couple episodes on
Yeah.
Netflix. If he told me that he hasn't watched Seinfeld, then Prad and I are going to have a sit down, a serious sit down, because that's a must. BFRI next bids will be down in the teens and then down in front of $5. If he hasn't seen Seinfeld,
he probably
a problem.
He probably hasn't seen Seinfeld.
it's a problem. That's a
You
problem.
know, I mean, do they play video games on
That's a
Seinfeld?
problem. No, he's seen it.
Where is he?
He's
He's
not
not here. Probably super. If you're hello, Super Chicken, is Prad there? I don't know. We'll see where's Prad at. The burgers weren't. I don't think they were that bad, were they? They were Angus cheddar. I don't know.
It was a tasty burger today. It was a little heavy though. Like it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A few extra calories in that.
So
bad
we'll
boy.
see. Right there it is, right there. We'll put Gates of Hell for Roku because it's not in the Gates of Hell. It's just. We basically flatted out our trade, and that is what it is, man. We took that one victory down here, which was nice, 90 cents, and then we wound up losing again, almost about the same there. Like for some reason, my net is basically flat. I mean, we do have some execution fees and whatnot here, but it's because I'm in a new position right now. So we'll see if it failed off that 260 break. So we averaged in again on this play. And, let's hold on a second. Let me take these. I'm going to take these things off so I can explain what I like here. This might not work, and it doesn't matter. Just want to explain. Look at the spread. Wow. That's part of why I'm getting hit on Roku here. I'm not thinking about this properly. I can't put stop orders in when the spread opens up like that. It's crazy. Like I could, it's just 60 cents. Like, when it opens up, like nuts. So anyways, whatever, but let's just move on from that. You see this wick here when we got stopped out, this big wick through 258.50 all the way up here to 259. I thought that wick right there would have helped us on the downside there. This wick never happened, but that wick, I saw it went right to resistance here and then came back in and closed at 63. So it tested 259 there, closes at 63. So now, for me, that's a short there. So that's why when I'm going to put this back on and you're going to be able to see my fills now here again, that's why you see right there, that's that short right there that we put back on. And then we had to average into it up here near 260. So that's why my average price is what it is right now. We're in the money on that. Yeah, we were short 259.22, and it just printed down like 258 again. But I mean, the spread on this is just too spicy. So we're going to get out if it breaks back above. Let me see. I just want to give you the price. Yeah, 262, 260 flat. So if we break above there, man, I'm going to get out. But I do have to change our stop orders because I can do it based on not last print, but last bid ask price. So that might be something that's a little bit better for me here on Roku. And then just quickly before we go, so I want to talk about Ford here. So let's go Ford. We do get that 78 or 77 fill. 78 fill there, got out there at 80, but now it's coming back down. So we only got a piece out. We do want Ford to hit itself back up. And if you see, this is what we've been doing, done again. So we'll just keep on rinsing and repeating these and see where we go from here. But right now, Ford, we're long with this. We talked about Neil's stop on Apple. I mean, you're going to say, well, why have a 3-cent stop on Ford? It's just because I don't need it to break this bottom. And if it breaks the bottom, then I don't know where it goes. So with only 40 minutes left, way too risky to hold Ford here in case the imbalances do come out. What up, Beep?
Just noticed some of the travel names coming back into interesting levels here, including some of the cruise lines. Norwegian, one of those, was up 8% there. Just came back into that same kind of area from the morning where it stalled out and is trying to hold, which happens to be right at VWAP as well, 21.75. Nice look, still almost 8% here for Norwegian.
So 2 things. One, I'm looking at, I don't know, my 15-minute chart doesn't want to go back very far on Backed, but Backed is back to life. Because that's a pun that I'm going to use, and you guys have to deal with it. $20 if it gets there. I mean, yes, 100%. I will be looking for a short at that price. $20. It was a monster level on a pullback, and you look at the resistance at 20, which led to the recent drop, and I think that's a level. I don't look at you guys know at the end of the day, if you're not catching this break or this dip into the previous high, or maybe the retake of the high of the day, like those are your levels. Like buying it up here, can't do it. Like I don't know where to formulate it now. Like if I can find an out, like we found an out with BFRI and we found an out with Apple, and that didn't work out for me. But up here on BKKT, if I can't find myself where I'd get out of a long trade, I won't do it. I just noted in the chat, and I said 187, but on my level 2, just so you can see here, if I pop this up for you, BFRI, which is on the NASDAQ, these are 100 lots. It was 18,700 shares randomly showed up at 531, and it's not there anymore. And if you're going to spoof, why not put a number that's going to get somebody's attention? It definitely got mine. I'm like, there's a 187 bid. I don't know. And I guess I decided that I wanted to, whoops, why did this not flip with it? I decided that I wanted to take some more shares out because it bounced away from my bid, which is at the teens in front of the previous high. And then that buyer stepped up. It caused this little spike to the upside. Now it's coming right back down. So that bid is no longer there. You saw the level 2, despite the fact that it's a $5 stock with 5 million in volume. It's not a ton of liquidity on it. It's a few thousand shares per level. So 18, 19,000 did look pretty sizable in the moment, and it did cause a bit of a move to the upside, but it seems like it's gone now. I'll be all out now in front of the previous high of the day. Still hanging on to AMC, which is literally at VWAP, but refuses to break it. I probably shouldn't be so greedy.
Man, I hope we're not being too greedy with Roku, man. Roku just crashed to 60s. I'm waiting at 50s here on Roku. So what is hopefully going to be a, come on, we're pennies away here. I may have to switch this and just get out because again, my heart can't hold this shit. If I miss this bid, I'm going to get just too upset here. So let's just change it a little bit here. See if we can get in the mid 60s instead of waiting for 50 even on Roku. I know we're getting, I know we're giving up some profit here, but I don't know, man. I don't want to be able to sit here, and I got to cancel all these so I don't get overfilled. First of all, damn. Okay, well it just went for us pretty nicely there. We'll have to see where it goes now, but. Damn, right back. So, okay, come on. We're waiting in the 70s now, so hopefully that'll fill us, get back in here. We'll take 60 cents, or there it is. Yes, sir, thank you very much. Spin that on that last trade. Wow, that was a heart attack. Oh, and now it goes. See, I get filled and it goes, see you later, alligator. So that's fine, man. We're out of half of that trade. It just touched 258.20 to the downside. We're now in a dollar winner on this name. Back to profit land. What up, profit land? How do you feel right now? I feel pretty good because we're there. So that's a good one now on Roku. Now if it breaks through 260, it's fine. We just took that profit. If it breaks through there, we'll basically be giving back what we just made. So let's have some fun here. See if it pulls back. Obviously, the NASDAQ now starting to tick up. Like, thanks, NASDAQ. You can't just make another move to the downside. But this may be a little too far, too fast here for Roku today. But 19%, hey, wow, good move there. Kathy Wood must probably be pretty happy. I'm still waiting for a break lower here. So if we can get below like this 255 or something, that's really what I'm waiting for. I don't have any more bids. That's what I just double checked. So, hey man, we're going to hold this Roku and see how far we go down. Right now, $1 in the money. So what was a good idea? Hopefully even a better one if it continues to move to the downside. Let's go, Roku.
Yeah, I just got out of BFRI because why not? I mean, I put the last bid in front of 520. Now it's down to that $5. So you look for that quick little retracement trade. It goes 575. We told you there was a refresher there. You sell in front of it. 70s, well, 69 is what I got. It doesn't really matter. It looks like it's going right back into that whole price. And the same thing that we did on Longeveron, if this PPSI, which is starting to get going here, just broke through $11, same thing happens. It had a previous halt level upside here right at $11. It just broke that. You have a high at $11.94, so $12 all day, every day. If it pops there and fails, I like $12 on PPSI. So a heck of a lot still moving, and especially these, I guess, secondary, tertiary, whatever you want to call them days. BKKT is still around that high of day. If it goes to $20, like I said, that's going to be the level. Otherwise, you want to play for that one at 17. I don't have any names that are on my radar. Almost every day last week, there's been something that I've been, dying to see what the imbalance is going to be at, for that particular name at 350. The only thing I can think of today would be Apple or Nvidia, and only Nvidia because of the push down that you saw, not moments ago, but when we started the show, Nvidia was showing some weakness. So I'll be watching that and Apple. But as quickly as Nvidia made that push down that we're noting, I mean, it's right back as if nothing had happened. So
Yep.
I'm still a little bit curious as to what went on there. It was a volume spike down in Nvidia, to the smaller extent AMD, and then certainly on Marvel had at least as big of a move downside as Nvidia, and it was just bought right back up. So I'd be curious to see if there's a seller at 350 on the imbalances. That would not necessarily surprise me when you get weird price action like that, but I guess people that were waiting for the dip buy, congratulations. I mean, it wasn't on my radar at that particular moment.
There we go.
And then it just bounces right off of 314. So a good one there. DWAC now $1 away from the high day.
Trying to hit this one. Here we go.
Congratulations!
There, you said congratulations. So there it is right there. We'll go boom for Ford because that was a good trade for us. We did take some shares here. Now we're just getting out. Like we talked about getting 78. I mean, I basically, and again, thank you for watching and hopefully some of the stuff that we're talking about here sort of resonates with you so that you can make the same trades tomorrow and or point them out for us to make. Like this is part of why I was holding Ford, man, when the show started and I talked about it. It's so hard for us to jump back and forth. Like my eyes right now on the chat. Like, what's up, James Santangelo? There talking to Valeria. But yeah, so always looking at the chat and always figuring things out. But there goes Ford, and I might have missed it, right? Right back to the level that we like here on Ford, and we bought the 78s again. So is it rocket science? No, it is not. Out again, 80s, like we said, 80, 81, 82, 83. We'll just try to get them all out to the upside. And if I can get an 86, 85, 86, we'll be happy as whatever, a pig in you know what. And then if we can get back up here to 90 where VWAP is, even better, man. I'll celebrate that with you guys as well. So hopefully Ford will continue its march up. I do have an offer. Actually, I don't even have one now. I have one at 86 and 89. I'm going to change that. I should have one in here, 84, 85. So this is why you always got to go back. And that's another thing. I know we talked about double checking and what to do as a starter, as a beginner. But, you know, sometimes I forget and I leave orders out. So, don't put the right orders out. Like I should have one right here. I should have one at 85. I mean, it's bumped up to 85 numerous times and fallen back. So instead I have an 86. So I'm going to change that and we're going to go. So that's that. Ford right now, let's put a bid here, 85. And then if it rips up to that, great. We'll take some out and hopefully take some out on the way up as well.
As you say that, Sean, I actually still had my stop protecting the BFRI trade if it broke 575. So, I mean, that's one of those situations where, look, it's a good trade. I use the stop order that doesn't automatically cancel when you cover your position. So we have one that would and one that doesn't. I left the other one in. And what if this pops up and then suddenly right in the aftermarket, you're making one of those 4 p.m. runners, and then I get stopped in long when we're supposed to be flat at the end of the day. So, look, these things happen all the time. Everyone makes keystroke errors. I made one this morning, reversing into a long and then getting out of it almost instantaneously when I didn't intend on it. I just put a trail in AMC because, like I said, probably, again, maybe being greedy. Come on, load. There you go. So it was bouncing off VWAP, like I said, multiple times there. 32.25. I was sort of sitting in front of 32 because I like the bottom end of this cluster here. And I just said, look, if it takes out 32.50, we'll take the profit. We're short a couple of times in front of 34. But you want to bank it because there's so many of these squeeze type names that are running right now. I mean, DWAC testing towards the high, not quite there yet. So I'm not short. I wanted to fail at 64. I'm not short yet, but I like the short up top. I don't want AMC to join that party because if you look at the strong move that it put in, if these are going to start to run in the afternoon and AMC is going to bounce off of VWAP here, that's the kind of stock that can have a nice little run in it. You don't want to get caught short. Whether you're in the money or not doesn't mean you want to sit there and give it all back at the end of the day. Like I said, DWAC is getting pretty close, but not quite there yet. I want to be patient. I wanted actually testing that high at 64, about $1 away.
All right, so I have some disturbing news, but it's not that disturbing other than it was just trading. I put the wrong, I thought I had, and I just talked about cleaning up your orders. And I put 259.50. That's the price I was in here on Roku. So we take a small win on the, oh, come on. Like I even have my bid here that I have to cancel now down here at 257.50. Like, so there it is, man. I mean, whatever. We're not going to cry over spilled milk, but that was a keystroke error right there. 260.50 is where we're trying to. Now you have that, I think.
I'm looking.
We were trying to get it down. I think I might have a spilled milk one here. No, I don't. I took that away because I actually hate that saying, to be honest with you. But whatever there. I'll do this one. Crying baby I have because honestly, that was just a mistake right there. Damn it. We should still have that Roku. And this kind of stuff hurts, man. Like there'd be no reason for me to get out there, but we are waiting for that 260.50 up here to break. Obviously, we got out, so we can't worry about it, but we will. There it is.
Oh, God. That's...
What was that? Do that again. I want to see that before we go to Valeria. Let me see this.
Why would you just stop pouring, man?
Like that's
There's
wrong.
another one here. Here's another one. Let's
Rob.
see what this one does.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's crying. Okay, Rob.
So I got to get rid of the other one. Yeah, the second one's good, man. The first one,
Oh, the first one was that guy, right? The guy that made the Beyond Meat one. Yeah, right. What was that guy's name? Remember the one that had
I know. I can.
cow? It was an intern that we had. Okay, what's up, Miss V or Brendan? What's up?
Hey guys, you're having so much fun with animation, and we have a super chat from Hayden Griffith. Lucid and Uber, thoughts into the close, guys?
Okay, so those are two very, very different names. One of these,
Oh, I can't believe this Roku though.
one of these I like in the long term because, I think if you wait for automated driving for Uber, I think you're going to be waiting you're going to miss the boat because it's likely to make its run before that's a reality for them. Now, obviously, I'm sort of saying that, and candidly, I'm an Uber shareholder and been holding on to it while it has been a laggard in the reopen space. But I love the wipeout bottom that got put in here, right? Like, you talk about where some of these stocks bounced on Monday and the opportunities that you had, and it's just like give me a break. Like, you're going to come in and it's going to drop right into the Friday capitulation bottom, bounce in front of $35, and then just come roaring up. Now, what hasn't happened, I talked about this, I think, on Monday. Well, maybe it was Monday or Tuesday. Well, it wasn't Tuesday because I wasn't here. It must have been Monday, where you still want it to break out of these ranges. So it has not really taken, it hasn't taken this 40 level out, right? There's some clean sailing up to 42. So yes, this is a bit of a strong close. It did another, I can go back to the 1 minute so you can see what it's done here today. It did another one of those situations where it did a dip, was able to hold some support from yesterday's action and scream to the upside. But we have not broken $40, which has been some trouble on Uber. This is another name which I'd be interested to see if it has a sell and balance on it. That would tell me there's still some people that are taking recent profits on those bounces. That's a good 10% move that it's put for you right here, right? Like 38.5, that's 10% from that 35 bottom. So there might be some people doing some profit taking, and you can certainly see, like every time it catches a bid, there's a bit of a sell consolidation going on here. So it's a name that I don't think gets going for real until it breaks 40 even. That's perfectly fine, but understand that some of these names, you're not in this environment, you're not leaning into high profitability and strong fundamentals and valuation for something like an Uber. Like, this is more on the spec side of a play here. You gotta remove yourself from the notion that it's Uber, it's going to be a business that survives. Well, it hasn't been one that can prove it can make money for consecutive quarters or down the line. And a lot of people are waiting for an event which is not necessarily certain. They have some issues when it comes to regulation in many jurisdictions as well. So it's not necessarily smooth sailing yet. I think it's more clean if we break out from that 40 level. 35 is a great little bit of a support. I'd watch closely a sell and balance here, and you want to be taking some profit if you got some from that 35.
All right, wow, I got the fill. I still can't believe that here on this Roku, but it's a teaching moment for me too, honestly. Like, you got to double check your orders. And I was just doing that, and I thought I saw the Roku stop, and I was like, okay, I have it, and I just did not check the price. But okay, we'll move on from that. No NBD for sure. All right, so let's move on. DraftKings 33.60, a big move. And I just want to talk about this NVEI here today. What a wild move, man. I mean, did you see what this was doing earlier on? Like, I got out of some today, so I know Sam was talking about that. I got with some at like 76 earlier on the Canadian side, so now it's 75, so basically right there. What a tank this name has been. Thank God I was only holding half, but still a big move down for NVEI today. CEO is going to defend all these claims, but again, short seller report out there, $92. But even 92 is low for this. Oh, this is a US, sorry. I was looking at it on Canada, but look at this, man. Flushed all the way down to $43 off the open. I'm gonna have to look at this name tomorrow. Not now, there's just not enough time left with this spread, but $43 and then ripped. Basically just ripped. Like, I don't know what happened there. It actually halted, and I think you were talking about this. Yeah, it halted up and didn't, but it did nothing off the halt, but it did. And then it went to $67 and it absolutely took off, and now it's kind of just chilling out. So NVEI, going to be on the radar tomorrow. Nuvei Corporation, going to do some more research tonight. If you're on here, send me any links or whatever. But yeah, this is just like Lightspeed, whole bunch of stuff like that. Good job, Dustin. Grabbing some shares at 49. Great job there, man. Some of these names have been beat down, especially recent high flyers like NVEI. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Look at the daily. This has been a good one. I was in on the IPO in Canada. So, again, a payment processor. You guys know I like that. It's not a pure payment processor, but hold on a second. 20-minute. Where's the daily chart here? There it is. No, that's my 1 minute chart. You know what? My daily, I think, closed on me, actually.
Uh-oh.
There it is. No, it's right here. So again, this is what we're talking. Oh, it's not going to load. Don't tell me it's not going to load. Back, yeah, you're not going to be able to see anything. Obviously, it didn't IPO at 140, but you're seeing a big move down here. Maybe if I can get the Toronto name up, just bear with me 1 second here, because this is a name that, look at Ford, by the way. Ford's starting to go, so we'll go, Mamma Mia. We did have a discussion about pineapple pizza.
Why?
I think you weren't here again. It was on Prad's show. People loving pineapple pizza.
You gotta let this stuff go.
I don't know. I can't remember how it came up, but this is Nuvei. Look at this monster move back up. So it's just back to sort of these levels where we were in the summertime. But what a move up to 180. My best out is 170. Then I just took some out in here when we crack. I mean, look, this is what I'm talking about. You crack below here and below the 50 period. Some key spots was out at 144 there, and then out today at 76 in Canada. So what a disaster that was down there. But wow, it opened at 50. What's up, Bren?
Not seeing anything yet on this one, guys, but Robinhood making moves here into the close. 23 got taken out. Big volume on the buy side for Robinhood.
Yeah, look, it's another beat down name that's finally trying to catch a bit of a bid. Like my daily, oh yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Pull it up on the fly. And it's like, not to rub it in or anything, but my daily chart just loaded up pretty well there. Doesn't always, yeah, it is what it is. I looked at stock today, but this is a wipe. This is a wipeout bottom. I'm not gloating, but I'm kind of gloating. It goes back and forth. Like we probably call up. No, to be perfectly honest, I guarantee you that like the number of symbols that get called up in P per 8 in the speed that Sean and I do in a day dwarfs any office.
I have 200 fills.
Yeah, dwarfs any office because we're constantly looking at names that you guys bring up and we're flipping back and forth. It's crazy. But this is another name that's just a 3 days worth of rally, but it's nowhere. Like this is nowhere off those bottoms. That previous breakdown trade was at 33. Like that was where it all fell apart when it broke down from the IPO low. You're $10 away from that price. So when people start talking about, and look, this is a pure spec. I don't know. Like okay, like Nuvei, like you're talking about something that you kind of like the company and you're looking for places to get in, and things that are beat up like Lightspeed or whatnot. But I'm not a person who even is a huge fan of Robinhood as a business. But if you're just looking for shot plays, like capitulation bottom in front of $20, and now you're looking to try and take out this like 23.65 or maybe bounce around here 22.5, like 10% worth of risk, and it's right now about 30%. To $30 even, and then you call it like, over like a 40% return if it gets back to that 33. That's the type of gamble I think a lot of people are starting to look at. Probably better to do that with options. I will almost certainly be coming in tomorrow thinking about this level here, 24.5. You sort of look at where, the worst of it happened on Friday. Like when Friday was a big sell-off day, and it was right at this double top at 24.5. That Robinhood fell apart. So if it gaps and then pushes another dollar up, I think for a day trade, I'll be looking at a 24.5 short in front, maybe in front of that 25 level. But outside of that, there's a lot of names that have been beaten up, which are running here. Robinhood, another one, hasn't even broken the high of the day, despite the big move it just put in. DWAC, the price of waiting for a particular level and being patient with it and not wanting to chase it or not wanting to get in too early is, guess what? You might miss it. So I was looking for it to test 64 at the high, or at least closer to it. It went to 63 even, and then pulls back $2.50. So, I'm going to miss out on that one. I was looking for the same trade I got in Longeveron. Longeveron made it to that high. DWAC didn't make it to that high, so I don't have the trade. And we'll show you winners, losers, but sometimes you also have a set of circumstances you need to play out for you to get into the trade. And the reason for that is, if I'm not going to be out till it breaks the high of the day, then I want my short to be a reasonable risk. If I short it at 62.50, let's just say, I'm risking $1.20 with only 20 minutes left to go. That's a reasonable level of risk if this is earlier on in the day, or if that risk ratio works better if you're holding overnight. Not that I would ever hold this overnight short. I think that's crazy. But again, we have to be flat at the end of the day, so tighter stops, more reasonable entry points are all part of the game for us here. Not going to force anything. Didn't force it in DWAC. Had I done so, it would have worked out, but that doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
Okay, so no, it's not. Who knows what the right thing to do is ever, but always, that's the one thing about it. It humbles you, this market, because...
Tell your mother that you love her every time you see her. That's the right thing to do.
Yes,
That's an easy answer.
And your kids and everything.
Yes, every single day.
And make sure you wear your gaming glasses when you need to.
Well, I don't know about that.
the hell?
You haven't worn those in like, they're there every single day and you never wear
I know.
them.
I made Rob buy these, and then I've really not worn them. So maybe I'll give them to my kid for a Christmas present. Okay, CFVI, and this is something important. I just wanted to give a shout out to Dustin here, and whether or not he's true or not. That's why I said serious, Dustin. CFVI here. If the CEO is coming on Fox Business, I mean, I think that's a catalyst alone right there, right? And I think that's something that we've learned in the day. Like one time, PayPal started ripping up, and it was like one of the Nigerian brothers who was talking it up on CNBC. Not that I know what that station is, but if CFVI starts to rip up here, you'll know why. So definitely watch out for that. I don't have Fox Business up, so I'm not going to trade it on that rumor. But if it is true, I would punch the long, man. I think that's going to be a good one. And I believe you, Dustin. It's just, with only 20 minutes left, we can wait to see there if it's coming back on. And I did want to give a big, big celebration to Ford because there it is, man. And all we're sort of doing, you could say, you're just taking 6, 7, 8 cents on Ford. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that is exactly what we're taking on Ford. And although now it's a dime piece, but we are long. What now, Neil? Your charts didn't load, right? Trash talking.
I
about
deserve
charts.
that, but half my charts just crashed on me. So
okay. There you go. Yeah. See, so the chart god saw you trash talking.
I 100% deserve that.
Okay,
I really
good.
do.
But hopefully you.
I'm flat right now. It's not
through,
whatever. I'm flat. It's not a big deal. Flat means I have no positions.
Oh yeah, I didn't do that. I did long, short, and I didn't do flat. Yeah, but.
But
flat.
it's interesting because flat can mean that you have no positions on. It can also mean that you get out of a position for no gain or loss. Like it means two things in trading.
But either way, you don't. Yeah, but you still flat. You still don't have a position.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So okay. Anyways, I just want to talk, and this is Ford, right? And this is what we mean, like trade your own book and trade your own share size and your own ideas, right? Ford comes right back up to this area. We talked about getting it out every penny on the way up. So there it is, ding, 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 all the way to the upside. Now we'll wait with only 10 minutes left. We are going to now be forced to wait for the imbalances. And what the imbalances are, just the end of the day, man. We're going to wait to see here, which you can see these are all of 9:30. So the time here, none of these have been updated. You are going to get stocks that are halted on here. Like this one has literally been halted. I don't even know why it's on here. I believe this is an error at Day Trade the World, right? And I just think it's probably stuck. But I don't know. I'd get rid of it if I knew how. I'm not that smart. So we'll wait to figure out how to get rid of that. CCL with a buy imbalance. This is just what's left over from 9:30. It's already been done. So we'll have to wait for 350 to come out, and then you'll see what's happening with these imbalances. And trust me, if you're just watching it for the first time, they can affect the market. So we're going to wait to see where that goes. And so far, so good on a lot of these names. Ford's pulling back in a little bit. So I do want to do a little bit of work here with that name and just start to get it. Well, I guess it's not really pulling back, is it? We'll offer again and take some more. Oh, that's all that happened. I got filled. So we got filled at 85 there. That's all that happened. I thought it was going down. But now we'll wait to see where it goes. Ford, I still think if we can clean this out at VWAP, we should take that. Let's check back on Roku. What? 250. Oh, we were waiting at the same price. Okay, so Roku, we just missed it. We just missed a short again on Roku, but whatever. It's come back in. It's a little risky now with only 20 minutes to go. But there's Roku, pulled right back into this level again and just tank citied again. This is where we wanted to get out, like 257.50. So a nice move back to the downside now on Roku. Other than that, we are trading with Day Trade the World. Maybe we could throw to Miss V and just talk about Day Trade the World a little bit. But I did want to first talk about this, and that is that we got to hit the like button like I just did there. That's why I didn't hit it, right? Like, so there it is. So hit that. Let's see if we can get to 1,000.
Like it.
I hadn't liked it yet, man, because the show's been okay, but now it's great. So I liked it right there. So if you can get this up to 1,000, that'd be pretty sweet, guys. 946. Ms. V's over there at the table. Maybe we can throw it over to her to get a like count going here because we'd like to get to 1,000. If all three shows could get to 1,000, our morning one was like 2,600. I don't know what you guys got in the afternoon. I think it was like 1,100, 1,200. Let's see if we can get that one up. Let's throw to Ms. V and watch these likes skyrocket.
You're so right, Sean. In the morning show, we got 3,000 likes, memes and movers, 1,100. And here we need just 100 more likes to get to 1,000 team. We have 3,000 people, so please help us to get there. Make your input in the trading community and smash the like button. Likes are absolutely free for you, but priceless to us. And now it's only 40 more likes to 1,000 actually. Let's go. Ouch.
I will get stopped out at 64 on DWAC. No, I mean, I was.
DWAC is 64?
I was saying that because it went right to 64 again, and it was on the 98 was on the offer. I'm like, it's about to stop out right here. So, like I said, you could have chased that, and obviously, if you get in early at 63, you're at $1. In this case, I got 62 short. So I'm risking probably 40 to 50 cents depending on slippage, and the risk to reward makes sense now. I can get some out in front of that aforementioned 63, nice little school word there for me, and that's 1-to-1. Get some out in 62.50, hold the rest into the close. Now, obviously, there's only 15 minutes to go until the end of the day, so relatively tight stop. Hopefully, it has some time to make a run
Holy
back into the
shit.
downside. Didn't you see? I missed the story on CFVI as you were mentioning. Apologies, because I was sort of doing something else, but what the hell? Why am I even short this? What, DWAC's going to go up then?
Like, look, I'm at the
Did it halt? Did it halt?
No. I'm at the highest spot I've been at all day. So let's slow down on this, like getting pissed off. But I got to give a big shout out to Dustin. Like, honestly, Dustin, this was all you right now. I'm spinning this for you, Dustin. And he talked about CFVI. What the story was, Neil, was that he was coming on Fox Business.
Oh, that's all it was?
And I was just like, you know what? We've seen these pumps before, and then we just I don't have it up to watch that was be accurate, right? So the problem is, man, like I would have took, it doesn't matter the shares, but that would have been a nice Christmas present right there. So CFVI, shout out to you, Dustin. And this is why, yeah, I'm all good, Adam. Trust me, like the day like I said, I'm at the highest spot we've been at all day. I'm just pissed off because I missed the Roku. I didn't miss the Roku, I got it, but I missed, you know the story there. And the CFVI, man, you guys spoon-fed that. So again, thank you so much to Dustin. If you're on there, man, I don't know if you still are, but wow. Good job, Dustin, on that one, man. You hit that. And that's another thing. I am now employing every single one of you viewers out there to let us know, like, if you ever see anything like that, we don't have, I mean, maybe.
We're not sitting there watching.
Yeah, maybe it comes up on Brennan's Icon terminal, but like, you know, if you ever know that any of these CFOs or somebody is coming on one of these major stations, man, I want to ride with you on that trade, and then you can see how Neil and I manage that. But that's a great trade right there. And so shout out to Dustin, man. I'd send you a hat or something, but that's a good one, man. Great idea. Okay, there it is, man. 88s, 89s. That's exactly. So let's just do this again. We're gonna hit that. We won't do the money. What else do you guys want? How about this? Bang for Ford, because there it is, man. Ford, rinse and repeat that all day long. This is what we're doing, man. I'm here to make money. I'm here to entertain and to educate. So hopefully that's been everything today for you as Ford, man. I mean, how many fills on Ford today? 90 fills I have. Unbelievable. 90 trades on Ford, like crazy. But there it goes, man. Up to the upside. A good day for me on Ford as it's taking out those levels. And I'm just glad that we talked about this all together, guys.
Yeah, Justin, good look there. If you did, fair enough. I just did a failed break on DWAC. So anytime I see a failed break at that price, I'm usually going to go right back into the well. If it takes out the fresh high of the day, then I'll get out a second time here. But it did make a break of 64 and then immediately come back in. When I see that, that always signals a re-entry for me. So I'm back in essentially at the same price. 62 the first time, 65 the second time here. The new high of the day is 64.50, so I quickly throw my stop in. Only 4 minutes till the imbalances, so it's one of these things that will have to resolve itself pretty quick. Nothing else is on. If you're watching a few names from earlier, BFRI, I'll just say them out loud. BFRI just cracked VWAP and is heading heavily to the downside, and ISIG, that is threatening to break 18. If that breaks 18 today, I'll be a little bit disappointed because that would be a gorgeous level to look at tomorrow. It was a bottom from earlier in the session, a bottom at lunchtime, and then a bit of a bottom here in the afternoon. So triple bottom in the session on that ISIG. I'd love to be able to trade that. I don't know if I would take a breakdown with only 10 minutes to go, so I can't take it right now. DWAC, if it takes out the top, let's go to the daily chart and show you what could be looming. Whoops, the daily chart. If DWAC takes a top here and makes a 4 p.m. run, watch out for, I'd say, first $70. Very likely it does a failure at that particular price, but if it gets through that, 77 is the bigger level, 77.5 on DWAC. I guess in sympathy to the CFVI runner.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so look. Big time stuff happening here today. You know, that CFVI was good. And the thing is too, and I know Neil said something really pretty important earlier on, and that is that, you know, you could be wrong on stock. Like, I know you could probably see, I know you're in the DWAC trade, but it's like if all of your cuts, aren't huge, then you can get back in and try to make, that big move or whatever. I know Neil always goes short, but to the downside or to the long side, and just have your outs and make sure that you're sitting there watching it. Like this is are you out of this already?
Oh, I'm out.
Yeah, so there you go.
Again,
So
I'm not even holding that to 65. I know 65 is a nice round number, but anytime I'm doing a failed break entry, the stop is either at the break price or at the high of the day. Every single time, that's going to be the setup. I can't think of an exception. I'm sure there's always some kind of exception I would put in there, but I can't think of one. I'm always going to do it that way. And again, they'll look like tight stop relative to the fact that this thing has moved $8 in the afternoon, but sometimes that's the way you have to play into it. I did want to show you guys ISIG. I know I was looking at DWAC because I was trading it, and I wanted to at least mention the levels before it got to 350, and it was too late here, but this is what I meant in this stock. $18 is important because that's where the Great 20 short, it only gave you like that $2 into 18, and then it held support at 18 in the afternoon, and then it held support just now off of 18 at 340. So this is a name up, $9 from $10 here, that if it does not, look, as long as it opens above this or closes above this particular price, doesn't break that 18 level in the pre-market or sometime that I don't want to execute a trade, I'm looking for 18 on a breakdown in ISIG. Obviously to the top end, this could be in play 25 if it remains strong. Another name that could be in play for a 4 o'clock, although it's been relatively weaker. Like if I had to say which one I thought was going to make a 4 p.m. bounce between like a DWAC, CFVI, or an ISIG, I mean, it's pretty easily the former two and not this name. But $18, big level break. Hopefully we get to look at that tomorrow.
Let's see where SoFi is. Okay, good. We got out at a 17 break. So again, like some of these names, I could review all the trades, but I think we've been talking a lot about our book here as well today. So no need of that. Am I happy about PaySafe? Yes, thank you for asking. Always. I mean, I've just made 18% on my money, but we're already still down 50% on. So a couple more days like that for PaySafe, and then we'll really start to talk about it. That's SoFi, and here's PaySafe, PSFE. Of course, come on. There it is on the New York. And again, for every one winner like that, Nuvei Corp is again another payment processor. So I'm in both of these like at the same time. And Nuvei is like a double up from IPO. PaySafe, obviously like a triple down. So, you gotta take one with a grain of salt. And that's why you gotta be diversified. I talk about that all the time. Okay, so now here we go. So let's watch to see where the imbalances are going to come out right now. We'll call them out so we can watch them together. We're going to go on a 1 minute chart here. So I'll call it up. The symbol will be up here, and then we'll look at these as they come through. So PBR there, not Pabst, Petrobras, Apple with a bid. What a surprise there. Watch Apple just start to take off here on a bid. So a nice little 3 million share, 2.5 million. There it is. Look at that. Boom. Look at Apple go. Look at Apple go. So if you're not watching us every day, there's the Apple price right here. There it goes. Boom, on the bid. So there's Microsoft. Watch this stock. Boom, there's Microsoft on a bid as well. Yes, sir. We are loving life right now because these are two major accounts for me, Microsoft and Apple. Just both. Wow, look at that move right there. What else is on here? Here's your, Neil. Sorry about
Nvidia on there?
You know what? No, did it rip up too? I mean, the NASDAQ ripped.
The NASDAQ, okay, fine.
So
Nvidia put a bit of a $2 move, that's all.
I was going to say your Intel ripped up, but not really ripped. But anyways, for Intel, that's not bad. Up 10 cents or so. There's Facebook on the sell. So I said Neil's Intel, say my Facebook. I'm pumping Facebook all the time. Nice move up for Facebook today, but that's his sell. There's SoFi starting to move upside as well. I don't know if there's anything else moving. I don't know if you're looking at anything, Neil, but there's Pfizer was a name that we looked at. Again, not moving.
Yeah, somebody was like asking about PPSI. So while that DWAC was happening, remember, I also like PPSI up to 12. That actually gave the move. So went up to $12, failed there. You could have had that short. Still looking relatively bullish. So it's going to hold above this, well, for now I should say, because there's still 8 minutes to go. But on that pullback, it's going to manage to hold above that 11 price, which was the lower high from before. Bit of a battle got waged and it broke out from 11. So it's trying to hold this price here. Now, obviously, if it continues further, you had 13, which was the previous high in the daily chart that we'll be looking at. I think the 15 is going to tell a little bit of a more interesting story as to why that 11 is so interesting. That was, I guess, the previous lower high that got put in. So a close above here would set you up pretty nicely for a run at $13 in tomorrow's action. We'll see. I mean, you guys know how we trade. Like, I'd probably be looking for a 13 short if I got that price. And I don't know, I didn't say only $2 on Nvidia. It was just, I said I wanted to watch a couple of things on the imbalances. I mean, Apple, of course, because it had that move. Nvidia had its move to the downside. Nvidia had dropped $4 going into the imbalances, and then caught a nice little now $2.50 move to the upside here. So you are seeing there wasn't a buy imbalance on it, right? So,
Well, no, I mean the NASDAQ. I mean, look at the NASDAQ, man. The NASDAQ
it's just
is
the
tracking
NASDAQ. It's just
higher
the
and
market
higher,
moving.
right now. And that's why I think Ford is coming down.
Yeah.
We'll take another look right now. I mean, I have it sorted. I mean, Nvidia is going to be on here, and it's going to be a bit. I mean, I could sort of. Okay, you
probably
guys want to
just a
see it?
small
Let's
bit.
just go. I'll do it by alphabetical here. NVVVVV. So I might have not been the greatest at school, but I do know that V is near the bottom. So R. Oh my God, how many symbols are there? Honestly, NVDDDDDN. There you go. NVDA. So right here, guys, on the Nasdaq. So it is 420,000 shares. I have Nasdaq and ARCA marked off here. I got to get rid of ARCA, but there's Nasdaq. So it was 400,000. So yeah, 400,000. That's a difference. I mean, Apple obviously was monster, but 400,000 into a $300 name is nice. So that's nice. It's Chegg moving to the upside as well today. What do we have? Pretty soon we're going to go over the earnings calendar, so we can look at that. And what was on there again?
GameStop and
There's another name that I'm in.
it's that Kathy Wood. Oh my goodness.
UiPath.
UiPath, there it is.
Yeah, so I'm into that name. UiPath again with a monster move today, back up. I mean, who knows? Ooh, no, it's back down now. Okay, so UiPath was up. Yeah, no. Is that it? Only up 1.1%? I thought it was up higher.
That's all
But basically, it was a big move from the bottom, I guess, is what it was, up to 48. Is that right? Is that all that UiPath is up today? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So yesterday we closed here at 46, and we're at 47. So okay, so it opened up so bad and then ripped up. So I thought UiPath was a bit higher. So we'll see. This stock has been in big time trouble. Normally I'd be like, yeah, buy this name, but honestly, man, no. We're going to wait. I did, though, put out a call for action a couple days ago to buy ARC at 92. Now it's at 103, so a nice little big rebound there in ARC right here, man. And I remember tweeting it out. It was a story, and I said it was like when there's blood in the streets, right? I could probably find that tweet to find out exactly what day it was, but whenever I see things like that, here it is right here. So what day is this that I tweeted this out? This was December 3rd at 3 o'clock. So here it is. Not looking great there. I might rebalance a few holdings here into ARC when there's blood in the streets. So 316 on December 3rd. You guys can stamp that for me as well. But there you go, ARC. One more time. What's up, Brendo?
Yeah, there's not a lot to talk about. That is one, Path and GameStop, the two major ones. Here we go.
Mel Foods actually might be exciting. I mean, I never ever thought I'd say that, but just because of inflation and some talk like that, we actually didn't look at Campbell's today.
You're the only reason I
What
always.
is RTR?
I have no idea what that is.
Is that root?
But Sienna, I never forget, and you might remember. I don't know if you remember this, but like way back when I was, I don't know if I was still a trainee or if I had just recently graduated. No, I was still a trainee because Rokalo was trading, and Sienna.
Rokaloo?
No, Roku.
I know, but Roku. I was just.
Okay, anyways, so it's just an old trader, and that's his trader name that he had because it was his trader ID. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. There was Sienna and 3 other small cap stocks, and one day that I was trading small caps, I had a broken algorithm take it up like 75%, and 3 other names went at the same time. Broken algo just took the stock, all 3 of those stocks up by repeatedly buying the ask, and then as quickly as they went up, they came back down. And I remember seeing that once, and then talked over some other traders. Like if you see that kind of a pattern, you know it's a broken algo. You just got to know when to fade it. When it turns, it's going to be snatch time. And a couple of times when that happens, it never does anymore. It was free money. I just remember that for Sienna. GameStop. Oh goodness, it's been pretty ugly for GameStop in the last little bit. And we're running, you're right into major resistance here in front of the 200 and the 50 period, and you're at the bottom end of this range. So, I mean, like GameStop, I don't know what fundamentals are going to cause it to move to the upside ultimately, but it is running into heavy resistance. That even if it makes a pop, I think there's going to be a lot of sellers on this bad boy between 190 if it even gets there. That's 10% up anyway, so I guess it would take a lot to get there.
Yeah, so there's my tweet right here, December 3rd. So it's this day where we did touch a bottom of 91.80. I think I'm in at 93 and change here on ARC. So we'll double check that. It still could fall. But again, a name that, and I agree, man. And Kathy's smart. I mean, I listened to her talk. I like everything that she says. She's just been wrong. But it makes sense what she's talking about. If you want to get, innovation, some newer companies, and I know today she's getting a bump up because Roku has definitely been one that's been bought by her. So, instead of, maybe I'll just dump my Palantir shares and go all in with her. But we'll wait to see on that one. Thank you again for that. All right, so let's just continue to go. Ford. We got it out. We got it out at 85 there. So we'll watch out for that one. Someone said I didn't even realize I was tapping my pen, so I'll change that. We'll go up here, 1986, right there, 85, sorry, out. And we're just holding one last piece, but I'm just going to get out now. If we can, we'll get this out on Ford, and then we'll be flat for the end of the day. A quick little look here on the imbalances. We'll see what's going on here. BX, so all these big names have come out. So you can see now the NASDAQ starting to come in a little bit here as all the NASDAQ shares have been paired. So there's our friend Apple. 200, oh, now it's gone. So Apple was, again, it's probably not the chart. Thanks for that wick, P-Pro 8. But again, let's see if I can get that out. There it is. Yeah, so it does pull back in a little bit there, Apple. As you can see, it's gone off the imbalance. So that's Apple. We could check out Mr. Softy as well. Yeah, there's a pullback in Softy as well there after the imbalance has done its work. So nice little move. And there that's how you know that if you can set up these imbalances, man, and get them early enough, you can hit it. Square sell side today. Ooh, nicely done. Back to 195 on SQ. So that's obviously a good trade as well. For Square.
Some of the fintech names were like, those were the best dip buys. Like a firm, granted a firm broke 106 and went to 96. Like really went to $96 on Monday. Like what the hell?
That was like
that's
Amazon.
It's up at 127 now, right? So like I don't think anything was a better dip than the fintech because they'd gotten beaten up pretty bad. That CFVI, by the way, it almost got to the double top of 1550. Like you got the 1520 here. So that double top very much in play coming into tomorrow. We got a minute to go. I'm going to assume it's Ms. V on the bell. We're not doing the polls anymore to see who rings the bell. And at some point, I know people had asked for it. Maybe
Look,
it was
if
when it was
someone-
on. People have been asking for Lucas to ring the bell. We keep doing a poll for people to vote on it. And then, of course,
Why do you need a poll?
Valeria just wins the vote every single time. So we'll have to get Lucas
I don't
to
need
do
a poll.
without a poll.
I mean, Lucas is busy right now. If he wasn't, I'd just tell him to go ring the bell.
No, you forget the point.
I get the point.
The day it happened, the people decided to put up, they wanted a poll. I'm like, if you put a poll up, Lucas is not going to win.
It's like a moot point.
We just got to do it with Lucas, right? Because Valeria's going to win every single time. The market wins today, up 0.5%. Valeria's in the green.
I mean, if you're voting for Lucas. I mean,
I love Lucas.
I love Lucas.
Love you,
too.
Lucas.
I love Lucas too.
Where'd he go?
But okay. There you go. Hit it, Neil. With only 10 seconds left. We are ready to rock and roll here. I don't have any positions. Ooh, but I do have a stop order still on Ford. Like, how smart was that? 3, 2, and 1. And that's all.
I'll stop myself.
And that's all shoot. There we go. Yeah. So I'm just like, I just canceled my Ford stop
What
right
am I
there,
doing today?
and punched out. So we finished at the high of the day. So we're pretty happy for our own net. And it also looks like it's going to be the high of the day or close to it for the NASDAQ. Brendan, how did we finish, my man?
Yeah, we came back into the market this morning. I think we were 0.7 away from all-time highs for the S&P. So didn't quite get there once again, but 0.3 we'll call it for the Dow, or for the S&P, sorry, the Dow 0.1. 0.4 there for the NASDAQ. Yeah, nicely positive, guys. Only here in Toronto, we were lagging ever so slightly today.
Yeah, come on, Toronto.
Come on, Toronto. What's going on with you? Or maybe that Nvidia Corp. Just to make it clear, I'm not selling Palantir. That was a joke. But if I did sell it, I would be getting, and someone mentioned that you'd still get exposure in ARK. But yeah, I think you're obviously way better to hold the individual stock. You're going to get much more of a return if it does pop, but then you get better exposure on other names as well. So I don't actually hold any ETFs, to be honest with you. Well, besides ARK, but I've never really bought into them, but I do think they're great ideas. I mean, I think every account should at least hold the Qs or the Spiders or whatever major index you want. So you get some exposure to this 20-year bull market, or I guess not 20 years. We had 2008 slip in there, and then a little bit it's still bull market. So, anyways, I think you got to have some exposure. So I think that's good advice right there.
We were talking about the Meta ETF on the dip. It's like if you don't if you don't know what to buy, but you want more exposure to I guess volatility than like just buying the NASDAQ when things are dipping, well then, you pick up something like the Meta ETF, ARK as well. There's other ways to get more return than just buying the index, which is still the safest thing that you could always do in the long term, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's safe, and then it takes away the guessing game of different stocks. Like I put on SMH was the trade for me of the year starting in 2000. I mean, I made PayPal in 2020, SMH in 2021, and I didn't. Like I said, I don't even hold the stock. That was my pick. So 213 up to 313. So there you go, 50% return in 1 year on the pick of the year. I want to give a big shout out. Oh, there he is. He's back there. I don't see Ms. V's obviously on the desk, but a big shout out to Trader Brad over there at his spot. What's up, Manscaped t-shirt? And again, another big thank you to Ms. V over there on the big desk with Brendan. Thank you, Ms. V. I like that new spot for much better lighting. Everything's cool with that one. And then people want to see Lucas and Rob, so let's give them a big shout out right now. Maybe we could see them. There we go. Oh yeah, I saw that. Okay.
Don't fall off the chair, bro.
So Rob acts like there's clearly something wrong with him, and then Lucas is just like.
That's why they want Lucas on the belt.
That's why they want Lucas on the belt.
Cool man Lucas there. It's just.
But they play so well together,
He's a black belt apparently too, right?
I don't know how that rumor started, but we are getting ready for a cage match.
I don't know either.
Between Lucas and Pratt.
You can rent out a cage, get some headgear.
Yeah. What's up to Rocolo? You blast from the past, so thanks for bringing that up. Another Brampton-ite. So Brampton running the show here. Myself, Neil, Brendan, and Pratt, all from Brampton. So Brendan, anything here? You excited for any of those earnings? I don't know, UiPath? I don't know.
Not necessarily earnings, but that NU tomorrow should be interesting. It's, as we were saying this morning, guys, it's essentially SoFi of Latin America. So it's a bigger market cap, actually, than SoFi. Warren Buffett also in that for about $500 million. So NU on the NYSE tomorrow.
Yeah, get a nice IPO. It's already on my quote board. I'm ready for it as well, so thank you, Brendan.
But you're actually not ready for it because he said it was on the NYSE.
What? It's on New York? I thought it was on the NASDAQ.
No.
Oh my
wow,
God. I just always assume it's the NASDAQ.
I got you.
The New York Exchange is always winning, man.
This year, the NASDAQ way more on the IPO front than the NYSE. So, yeah.
I always guess wrong. I always guess NASDAQ every time.
That's all right. Yeah, I don't live in Brampton, but I do know that Brampton does have high insurance rates, and probably for good reason. So thank you so much, guys, for watching today. We're back tomorrow. Hopefully I won't have these glasses on, but it's Trader TV Live, 8:30 tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Good luck to the earnings, and we'll see you guys in the AM. Peace.
Bye, guys.